Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everybody. Gonna be getting started here momentarily, but I do want to say welcome in to the Captain's Quarters show. This is episode 20. I had a gentleman on here a few weeks back, Nick Denman, and he's back again. So we're gonna run it back once more. Go for round two. If you're watching via YouTube, hit the subscribe as you come in. If you're watching on through my Facebook page, hit the like, all right, and share the video on YouTube and Facebook so we can bring more people in to hit the conversation. And this is interactive. So if you're watching via YouTube, when you comment, I'll see your name, all right, and I will respond to all comments. If you're commenting through Facebook, if you don't give StreamYard access to show your name, I won't see your name, right? So just keep that in mind, but I will read the comment. So just keep it respectful, keep it on the topic, and I will respond to your comment, your question, whatever it is that you want to say. Once again, I'm grateful to have all you guys here watching. This is going to be another great show. Have a great conversation, maybe a little bit of debate. You know, you never know how it might go. You never know how it might go. All right, but this is the Captain's Quarters show, and I am your host, L. Milliner, the captain. Let me go ahead and bring in my guest for round two.
How's it going?
There he is. Introduce yourself to those who don't know you, and reintroduce yourself to those who already may know you.
I'm Nick Denman. I also go by that one guy 404 TTV on Twitch and YouTube. I mainly do just game streaming, but if you like what I say, I might start doing some political stuff. So we'll see.
Cool. How long you been doing that?
I actually haven't done it in over a year because I got such a good offer where I'm working now. But I do want to get back into it. It was about a year that I did that.
Okay, good deal. That's what's up, man. So last about 3 weeks ago, we had you on here.
Mm-hmm.
We had about a good 2-hour conversation. We covered a lot of topics.
We did.
And we it's been a lot that happened since then.
It's way too much has happened since then. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has happened. So I do want to go ahead and let's start with something a little kind of like soft, right? A little softball.
Okay.
So you are aware of Britney Spears? If everybody doesn't know about Britney Spears, you're aware of that, right?
Yeah, I read the story.
All right. So for those who don't know about Britney Spears, so if you're about my age, 30s, maybe in the 40s, Britney Spears because she was one of the hottest pop singers and artists back in the early 2000s. She was everywhere, yeah. All right, so she was hot, making hit after hit, along with Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. They were running the game back then. Well, she was in a relationship with Justin Timberlake. All right, mm-hmm. He was the lead singer of NSYNC. A lot of young kids don't know that. They just see Justin Timberlake now.
Right.
He's like always been solo. No.
Well, they're back now. NSYNC. They just released a really good song. So yeah.
Yeah. So and it goes back further because he was in the Mickey Mouse Club, right?
Mm-hmm. And she was as well.
So was Britney Spears. And so was
Christina Aguilera. Yeah, I think Taylor Lautner for a minute. There so many people came from there.
That's right. So back then, they had a relationship, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears. Apparently, Britney Spears became pregnant about 02-ish or somewhere like that. And she decided to abort her child. And so she just now recently came out publicly and put this out. She's writing a book. And so it's in the book. And so that's a big hot topic. People are discussing her abortion, right? Or her abortion.
I feel she does have the right to do.
So that's a big hot thing.
Yeah, I think she has the right to decide what to do with her body. in that situation. The part of that story that really bugged me is that she said if it had been her choice, she would have kept it. But Justin was adamant that he did not want to be a father. And I feel like if you're a man and you've already gotten someone pregnant, you did your part. It's up to her now. What does she want to do? And you support her either way.
Yeah. So it isn't her. Is I guess you could say at the end of the day, it's her choice of what happens because it is she's the one carrying the child, right? So
Right.
I'll give her that much, but she doesn't have the right to make the decision to kill the child, like to me, on her own. So it's not based on her. I
Well,
think
she's not
that she should
killing a
definitely consult with
child.
him. Hmm?
Well, she's not killing a child. She's ending a pregnancy. There is a distinction
But what is she
between the
pregnant with?
two. What's
A
that?
dog?
What did she put where now?
I said, what is she pregnant with? A dog?
No, she's pregnant, but
With
until that
what?
baby is born and takes its
What's the
first
baby? What's the
breath,
baby?
we don't give it a social security number. We don't let
That
you
don't
write
matter.
it off on
You said
tax.
it's a baby. What is it? A baby what?
Well,
Giraffe?
yeah, it's a baby human. I don't
Human.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your point there? Like,
Yeah. So
so is
she's
semen. Like,
killing
that's a
a
baby
life.
human too.
She killed a
Just,
life, a human life.
I don't think you're alive until you are breathing. I think the process of birth is what makes us alive. Now, I don't think after 28 weeks it's ethical unless there is a serious medical problem, simply because the baby can live on its own at that point without the mother.
Well, it
And
depends on the pregnancy, right? So, what 28
right,
weeks for one lady may not be 28 weeks for another one. So, you can't put a number like that, right? You can't just do that because then every
it's
child is not
28
developed the
weeks. I think
same,
is
right?
the
Like you and me, right? At
mhm.
age 15, we weren't at the same level, most likely,
No,
right? Because
no,
you were
but
giving
I
birth to
think
me.
I think they did 28
So,
weeks because that's the absolute most amount of time it would need for most growth to actually be there to where they could be delivered at that time without any real complications.
how many weeks?
28 weeks.
Yeah, but see, but then again, like I just said, you can't put a number on it because that's like saying every girl starts her menstrual cycle at the same age. They don't,
No, of course not. But
right?
that's not. Babies
So
tend to grow in a very
for me and you to
similar.
say that it's 28 weeks, it's like that's not accurate because every female is not going to be
Well,
the same. Every
that's
baby
the
doesn't
agreed
develop the same.
upon time that most children are able to live outside of their mother's womb and be delivered.
You said what now? You said most.
Most, yes. Some aren't quite there yet, but
Okay, so if you go about most, then when the egg gets fertilized, what gets created most of the time,
fetus gets created, an
right? And
embryo.
so it's a fetus of what? What
Well,
species?
it's a fetus of a baby, but like
I'm saying what species?
it's a human,
Okay.
but it's a human fetus. It's not a human being.
Yeah, but if it's already
It has the
but it's already
potential to be a
developing,
human being.
it's already in the human stage, right? Because human development starts at conception, and then everything from there is human development, right? Till you die,
I mean,
right?
the process of pregnancy starts at conception. I don't know that the process of being a human starts at conception.
But what's the difference between a fetus at conception and the baby at 28 weeks? Like, what's the main
At
difference?
28
It's the
weeks,
same life. It's the same
this
baby, right?
baby should be able to live outside of the womb. So at that point, an abortion would be a little bit unethical because that the baby at that point, you're in the third trimester, the baby can live whether you want it or not. And if you decide to abort it at that time, it would be unethical when you could just deliver it at that moment.
Okay, but you're going to okay. So I was asking you about something in particular, but then you talked about viability outside the womb. I'm not talking about that. I'm
Okay.
saying I'm saying from conception, right? You've already admitted. You just said that it's a human fetus in development, right?
Right.
That a human fetus will at some point develop into what?
It will develop into a human being if left at that
It's already
point.
human. You
Yeah.
already said that already. Hold on a
It's
second.
a human
Let's,
fetus. It will
let's be
develop
quiet.
into a
Everybody just
human
heard you
being,
say it's a human being already. It's human
human
already.
person, a living being, a living human.
But you said it's human though, right?
It has the potential to become a human. Yes.
Has it have potential to be? It's already human. It's got human DNA already. It's got a daddy's chromosomes and a mama's chromosomes. It's already human. It's not a monkey or a dog or a giraffe or anything else, right?
That's not really, that's kind of a false equivalency. We're
Is it?
talking about the growth of a fetus into a living being. I don't consider a cat fetus a cat. I don't consider a dog fetus a dog. I consider them to potential to be that, but until they're
Okay.
born, they're something completely different.
Okay. Got a question. Got a question. Let's say a woman is pregnant. She's 4 weeks pregnant.
4 weeks, okay.
4 weeks. A man or a woman, whatever. Nowadays, you got all kinds of stuff. Now people, whatever they call whatever. Let's say a person, an individual, walks up to this woman and shoots her, kills her. Does she get charged? Does the person get charged with one homicide or two homicides, and why?
It depends on the state. For one, they will get charged with 2 homicides because it wasn't the woman's choice to abort. It was forcefully aborted for
Abort
her.
what?
Abort her potential baby.
But hold on a second. But so the law. So hold on a second. Is there a law that says that if you're like half a human, that you're a human? Is that how that law works? Or
No,
is it
the
like it's a human?
reason that
It's
you
a
will
life, right?
prosecute someone for killing a woman and her child is because that woman wanted to carry that child to term.
See, I didn't ask you that though. I'm asking if she's pregnant at 4 weeks and somebody shoots her
Right.
dead, she dies and her unborn child dies. I'm asking you, how many homicides do they get charged with? You just
Well,
said two, right?
at 4 weeks, I'm not sure they would
What's a
charge it with
homicide? What is a
2.
homicide?
Homicide is a murder
Of what?
of a human.
Absolutely, right? So she get two homicides, right? One human was the mother, the second human
Yeah,
was the child.
she would get 2
In the
homicides
story.
because again,
In the
she
story.
wasn't choosing to get rid of the pregnancy.
But it's in the story. But see, you're jumping into what she's doing. I'm saying right now we're trying to pin down what's a human.
Yeah, but
By
that's
even
not
by
based on
law.
any kind
By
of
law is a human
science.
being. By
It's by
law.
law, sure, but it's not based on a science. It's based on a viewpoint
What?
that women should be used for having babies and not really much else. And that viewpoint is very popular in a lot of states. But the main reason you're going after people that are murdered is because they didn't want to be murdered. It's not because they're 2 people. It's because she was by all intents and purposes going to deliver that baby and wanted to have a baby. She never got to. So yeah, that's more of a victims wanting justice for the family they lost. But a mother deciding she needs to terminate her pregnancy because it could cause a difficult time or even a fatality is a little different. When she's already got kids, she's like, you wouldn't want them to not have a mom all of a sudden, you know? There are reasons that you would need to do that. And ethically, there are lots of reasons, and especially in like Judaism, you must terminate a pregnancy that is putting the woman at risk by Jewish law, by their religion.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with being human. Like right now, we're trying to pin down what's a human. So you already admitted that
What
you
is a
said that
human?
a fetus is a human.
Yeah, I said it is a human fetus. I said it's
Right, but it's a human in development, right?
right, but
It's like
that's
it's like a toddler. A toddler is a human, but a toddler is a developing into an adolescent, right? And then the adolescent develops into an adult.
right.
You know
But
what
a
I'm saying? Like
toddler
it's
is not an
development.
adult.
It's just
That
it's a stage of life.
But you're saying that a toddler is an adult, basically, with that logic.
No, it's still a human. I'm saying they're all human, but there's development stages of growth.
I think what consists of life is first breath, like the Bible says, that after first breath, you are now alive.
So when does the baby start breathing?
After birth.
Hold on a second, but you just got done saying that it was viable as 28 weeks in the womb.
Right, because at 28 weeks, if you were to deliver that baby, even with complications, it is a very good chance it will breathe on its own and be able to live on its own.
Oh, okay. So are you saying that even let's say at 9 months, if the mother decided to kill the baby at 9 months, then that she could do that still because it's not a human yet, right? It's
No,
not
I think
breathing.
that would be unethical to into pregnancy after 28 weeks if there's no complications. Because you are gotten into the third trimester. I do not think you should be ending it now. However, if that woman, say, has a complication that could risk her life, she absolutely should end the pregnancy to save her life and the potential children she could have after that.
Okay, you're all over the place on this one right here, man. Hold on a second. Let me read some comments. So we're gonna get back to that. Hold on a second. Adrian said, he can't do it with you, man. Chris said, it has the potential to be a human. What does that mean? Explain to me it has the potential. So I think he's asking you that question about the potential of being a human. Like it's already a human, so how's it potential to be a human if it ain't a
It's
human
I
already?
would not
Like
say
like
that at
hold
4
on. So
weeks.
like a dog in the
Hmm.
womb doesn't have potential to be anything but a dog, right? It can't be a cat. It can't be a monkey,
Right.
a human.
But if that dog doesn't get delivered and the dog's mom doesn't gets hit by a truck, it was always a potential dog. It's a dog once it's born.
Unless it gets to a certain threshold that where it can still be delivered and prematurely, you would call it a dog, but until it comes out of the female's body, it's not a dog.
No, it's a dog fetus. The reason we have the word fetus is because it's not yet the full
Buddy, come
thing.
on, man. You are too smart, man. Come on now. Adrian said you just called it a child, Nick. Yeah, man, you did. You did say that earlier, man.
I
You all
don't
over the
think I
place.
called
Like
a fetus a
see this right
child.
here. It's like you know what you're saying is nonsense, but it's like you done said it, so it's
It's
like
not
now you just got
nonsense.
to roll with it. It's like you're not making no sense, man. You're not being consistent. Let's see here. Somebody else said I got asked to be here. Said 28 weeks into pregnancy or 26 weeks after the conception date, the baby fetus eyelids can partially open and the central nervous system can direct rhythmic breathing.
Right. So after 28 weeks, that would be when you would start to have a fetus breathing, and that's when it would start to be, unless it's a medical emergency, unethical to terminate, in my view.
But it's still not a human yet because haven't been born yet.
It at that point, it is very likely that it would be a human if you were to deliver it. Even though you want to wait the full 9 months, you're likely it would be fine. There are chances it won't. There are definitely cases, but it's usually fully developed enough to be. It's going to be premature, but it should be able to get through that and survive.
Okay, but isn't every child so like is a 1 year old viable on his own?
Yeah, a one
A
year
one
old
a
is a
1 year old is
breathing.
it can
It's
live on his own by itself.
it doesn't need to be connected directly to another human being to survive. Yeah, it can eat on its own, breathe its own air, drink its own water.
I mean, but they can feed themselves.
They can swallow on their own. They don't need to be umbilical corded to another human to survive. They are fully autonomous of surviving. They might
Okay,
need help,
but
but
they can't.
that's not the
But
same
hold on a second. But
thing
1 year old
as
baby only gets what an adult or what somebody else gives it, right? It can't go in the kitchen and get some food because
right,
it's
but that's
growing,
not the
right?
same as physically being connected to something to get your nutrients as being able to autonomously chew and swallow
But that
your
doesn't make you
food.
less human, though.
What doesn't make you less human?
Being attached to the mother, to the umbilical cord, it doesn't make you less human.
That it doesn't make you less human in terms of DNA. It's you're still not a living, breathing, on your own functioning human until you're born, until really around 28 weeks when you can live on your own. Because like you were saying, the example with the 4 weeks, like that would not function outside of the mother's womb.
All right, let's see. So this person said on the double murder, which you just brought up, what if she came out later and said she was on her way to the abortion clinic? Are they going to lessen the homicide to 1?
I think it would be very impressive if a murdered woman came out later and said anything. So I'll go with, I have no idea what a hypothetical dead woman coming back from the life to talk about.
I don't think that's the point. I think the point is if the mother is changing the mind and says she's gonna go to the abortion clinic, like does it take away the homicide?
No, because it's not for her at that point.
Case, but in the other case, would it be a homicide?
It would still be a homicide because it's for the victim. It would be for her husband to grieve, and he would want justice for both of them, even if they decide to terminate. That wasn't up to that person to make that decision for them.
Okay. I got asked to be here again. Says it can also detect movement and control body temperature. I guess talking about the 28 week,
right?
Which I mean,
that's when we're really starting to see a human being formed at that point.
Yeah,
that is fully
in the development, right? But the development started at conception. Literally, from conception, it starts to develop already.
Like the development starts in the testicles and in the ovaries, where the eggs and the like potentially every semen when you ejaculate could be alive, and there's like 6 billion of them.
Right, because you and me,
so
because we're males,
right? But is that an abortion when not all of them impregnate an egg?
So what now?
Is that an abortion when not all of them impregnate an egg? Like that's billions of lost lives.
In order for the life to begin, it don't begin inside of us, right? We hold the life,
right?
We put it into the female.
To me, life started.
We fertilize her egg, and then our seed grows in her. So
right
at that point, it's already a human being in development already.
Here's my thing. I think life is an ongoing thing.
I learned this stuff at like 7th grade. Like I don't know why.
Well, yeah, that is how babies are made for sure. But if your question is when does life begin, I think it began at the Big Bang and has been going on ever since. I think life is a continuing thing. You pass down your life to your children. They take on your life, and as long as they're alive, your memory's alive. Are you really gone?
Oh yeah, dead. Once you in that dirt or cremated or whatever they do with you, you dead. You gone, man.
Okay, that's a very
you gone, buddy.
Yeah, that's a more agnostic take than I was expecting.
Oh yeah, I mean physically, bro, you gone. Look, if I die or today or tomorrow or whatever, like, am I gonna be on this show tomorrow? If I die right now, am I gonna be on the show tomorrow?
No. But are you going to be? You're going to be alive in your children's minds. You're going to be alive in your spouse's mind. They're as long as they're alive, they're going to remember you. You're not physically alive, but
bro, hold on a second now. You just got done saying
your DNA is still alive.
Not a baby, not a real life. But you tell me a dead person is alive? What?
I'm saying your DNA is living on. DNA is what I consider life, and it is being passed on. And even when you're gone, there's still some of you out there to keep going. And when they are old enough and they have children, they're passing it. It just keeps going.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Jessica Fitch. What's up, Jessica? She said murdering a child for their parents' mistakes will never fit. Yeah, if you're right with I agree with that so much.
Here's the thing. No one wants people getting abortions just to get abortions. The most likely cause of abortion is failure of contraception for someone that is not yet prepared to have a child. And forcing someone that's not prepared or might not even want to have a child is kind of cruel to the child. You want someone to be a loving relationship, and in certain cases it is absolutely medically necessary, and in certain cases it is ethically necessary to allow an abortion. In the case of a rape, in the case of a child or family incest, in the case of a severe health. And the whole point is that we want, when those horrible decisions have to be made, when we have to make those very tough decisions, it should be safe. It should be available. That's because you're not going to get rid of it by outlawing it. Like, we had higher abortions before Roe v. Wade. It's just going to be less safe.
No, that's down. That's a made up stat right there, man.
We've been going down in abortions ever since Roe v. Wade.
What?
Abortions have gone down every year since Roe v. Wade.
They literally had abortion mills in states. Like, they got places that you can go take your to safely kill somebody. What are you talking about? They have less. What?
Yeah, we have less abortions today than we did 80 years ago, or 60 years ago. When Roe v. Wade was first introduced, we've had less abortions since then, because we've had better sex education.
Has become stagnated.
Stagnated? It hasn't.
Yeah, like, there's no growth.
We've hit 8 billion people in our lifetime. When I was born, we were at 6. That's 2 billion.
I mean, worldwide, yeah, because it's like, it's other countries that don't believe in abortion.
You want to know where there's stagnant growth in America? Because nobody makes enough money. There's stagnant growth in America because nobody's paid enough. Everybody's overworked. The entire millennial and Gen Z, for the most part, can't afford housing. And having a child is just not something that's attainable for most people these days.
I'm saying you mentioned like 80 years ago, right? You're saying that there's more abortions back then.
But well, 80 is a little, but 60s. We're never. There were more births?
Yeah.
There was cities, the baby boomers.
There are cities in America, like New York City, for example, they had more aborted children than birthed children.
How do you get the statistic when that's not something that's reported?
New York State government said it. I ain't say it. They said it.
Yeah, but like, they don't keep track of who gets an abortion. That's not something that happens.
What are you talking about?
They're not keeping track of women going in to get an abortion.
How many abortions they had then?
They don't. It's a guess. It's always been a guess.
So you just admitting that you just lied when you just said there was more abortions back in 80 years ago than now. How do you know then? What?
Like, they're not reporting they're self-reporting sometimes.
But I'm saying,
it's the fact that the clinics.
Why did you just say that there was more abortions 80 years ago? What are you talking about then?
Because we know there were more abortions 80 years ago.
How?
Because
you just said they don't keep track of it.
They don't keep track of it in the way you're thinking. It's not like they're tallying abortions, but we do know that we've had less abortions because we've had less teen pregnancies. And that's a really good indicator of abortions and pregnancy in the country. When you have more informed people that understand what happens when they have sex, what it causes, how it works, and how to prevent a pregnancy that they're not ready for, you're going to have lower abortions because you're going to have less people getting pregnant. That is the point.
To be clear, no one knows how many abortions there are in America back in 80 years ago or now.
We can have a guess, but it's not like we have an exact number. Like, there are people that will say, like, this is how many people we should have had, and we don't have this many people, so we can assume this. There are, I'm sure, ways to get numbers like that, but it's not like you go to an abortion clinic and they're like, yeah, here's a list of people, or here's the tally. There's other ways to do it. It's usually self-reported. So it's definitely could be higher, could be lower.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the book, like, anybody can look it up right now if they want to. Like, before Roe versus Wade got overturned, last year, there were like 2 million abortions a year in America.
Right. And then for the last couple of years, it's been about the same. It's just they've gone up in blue states that still allow it and gone down in the red states because they have to lead to the blue state.
Which is, I'm glad you said that. What amazing, right? So in red states, when you outlaw it, you have less.
Well, no, they're just leaving the state to go to a blue state to get it done and then coming back.
I just said it. In the red states, they have less because it's outlawed, right?
Well, because they can't get it. It's not less people are getting abortions.
I'm glad
the same amount of people are getting abortions in the red state. They just have to leave.
We agree.
That's not really solving your problem, though. So you're just don't want it in your backyard.
Of that same premise. So if blue states and red states outlawed it, there'll be even less.
No, there would not be less. The only reason that there's less in red, it's again, there's it did not go down.
I'm getting them, y'all. He got the vape out.
Well, I got a vape too. Yeah. Got to think a little faster.
Oh man, what's in that vape, man? What you got in there? Some weed?
No, this is just nicotine.
Oh, okay. Your nerves getting bad, man?
Yeah. I do have anxiety, so that's a pretty normal.
We disagreed. I said red states. Well, you said it. You said red states.
Well, red states it went down, and it went up in blue states surrounding the red states.
State, right? But if the blue state outlawed it.
If the blue state outlawed it, then they wouldn't need to. Where are they going to go? Back alleys. They're going to go to a doctor that will do it in a. Like they're not going to stop. They're going to drink. They're going to throw themselves downstairs. They're going to use coat hangers. The stuff they used to do.
Very few women have the mindset to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like suicide. I mean, most people don't commit suicide. Most people just they claim to want to, or they'll tell people.
Here's my question.
But most people don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So
they might not, but
most women are not going to throw themselves down some stairs to kill a child. Like they're not going to.
If that's their only option and their husband's abusive, they really don't have a choice. The point I want to make is what does it? What is your goal of making people that do not want to be parents become parents? How is that going to help? How is that going to help anything when we can't even feed our elementary school kids? They can't get lunches. Like we can't get enough foster care. We can't get health care for families and children. How is that going to help to add more children into the mix from people that do not want to have kids? Like, I feel like that's going to have a negative effect on the people that do. Because you have less resources now. You have people that didn't want to have these kids, maybe resent them. Those aren't going to be the citizens you want in a society. People that were neglected as children or abused, they're not going to be able to function. You're going to then add something to help them, to get them to where they need to be able to hold a job down, have a family. I mean, they're all anecdotes.
Of the few.
Everything we're saying are anecdotes. That's how we have a conversation.
No.
But the few should not suffer if they don't have to.
We're talking about biology. We're talking about like basic biology about what's a life and stuff. That's not anecdote. That's just biology. That's science.
That's not what they're referring to, I don't think.
I mean,
horror stories of the few.
One of the worst alleged education systems. We learned that in the 7th grade.
We have the worst yeah, we need more funding. We need more money, but I don't see how adding more kids to that without adding more funding helps. I feel like if you're really pro-life, you're going to want you're going to want free public education. You're going to want food stamps for needy kids. You're going to want paid time off and maternity leave and free free daycare so that the parents can work and provide for their kids. Just forcing them to have the kids is just adding to the problem. It's not solving anything.
So this is the same person that said that earlier about the 26 weeks and agree with you basically about the 28 weeks and all that. My child was born at 28 weeks, and although she was hooked on to monitors, due to hospital policy, but she's a completely healthy 4 year old now. The hospital gave my ex and myself the option to terminate, right? Because they want to give the option to terminate, but
Right. It is not
but
illegal
God, you know what I'm saying? And
after
God
28
will
weeks
allow certain things
necessarily.
to just happen that people, man, don't understand, right?
Right. That's why I
A
think
doctor who
that,
goes to school for 20 years and gets all these degrees, they don't even know the answer sometimes. And that right there happens. But instead, a lot of mothers go and kill
right.
their children when
Right.
this could be the
And
result right here.
that's why I do support, if you're going to have a limit, 28 weeks. I do support that being a limit, unless it's a, medical issue for the life of the mother or a non-viable pregnancy. That, yeah, 28 weeks should be, they should not offer that option
Okay.
at that point.
And but to be clear, so before that, I mean, at 28 weeks,
Though it
is the
sounded like they
baby,
didn't think the baby was viable and now she's thriving, which I can tell you a million stories about doctors telling you you're not going to be as good as you are. And then you shove it in their face. So
yeah.
I don't think the doctor should be involved in making the decision other than giving you the information, giving you this is what it is, this is what the outcome is. And then that's it. Let you make the decision. But I think it should be the decision of the parents and not the decision of the government or anybody else telling them what they can and can't do.
Okay.
Just
See,
like I don't think the government should tell you how to parent.
See, I just think it. I don't think it should be an option. You know what I'm saying? Because
But how does that affect you? Like, how does that, like, that's not going to affect your Christianity, your faith. That's not going to keep you from going to heaven. If it makes them not go to heaven, how does that affect you in any way?
but we're affecting another life that don't have an option to choose. Like the baby can't choose. You know what I'm saying? That's who's
Yeah, but I
getting
mean,
affected.
you're
That's
also
what I'm
affecting
talking
a
about.
life not doing gun control and letting kids get shot up in schools.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an unborn child. So
No, but
it's
that's, I
that
think, a
like that's as innocent as
fair.
it is. Like okay, hold on a second. So a child in school is innocent, right? But a child in school can make decisions. An unborn child can't do that. Or
Yeah,
do we not
I
agree?
will always defend the living, breathing children that are getting shot up in schools over a potential child. I think we should take care of the ones we
You already said
have
it was a
before we
child
worry
earlier.
about the ones we could have.
But you already said it was a child earlier.
I said it has a potential to be a child.
What's a child? Is a child not a human?
Well, we're talking about a child as something that's been born. Like,
No, I'm saying, but is a child human?
a child is a human, but a child is not an adult. A fetus is a potential to be human, but
A
it is
fetus
not
isn't
a
an adult
human.
either. So we, I mean, we agree on that. Okay.
Right,
A
but it's
child isn't an
fetus.
adult, and an adolescent isn't an adult, and an unborn child is not an adult. But they're all humans. They all got that in common. They're all humans.
I'm saying that comparing a fetus to a human being is like comparing a child to an adult. They have the potential to be an adult if they make it that far, but they're not there yet. They are different things.
I agree, but they all have something in common. They're all humans.
I mean,
What are we
no,
missing?
they're not all. That one has a potential to become a human. You can freeze embryos, right? So after conception, you can freeze them. They're frozen. They're not living at that point.
Dude, like, yeah. And when a child is born, you can kill it too. What does that mean?
But no one does that. No one, I mean, school shooters do, but no
What?
one's killing
Hold on,
children.
hold on. Hold on. Do you say that when a baby gets born, nobody kills babies that are born?
Nobody's aborting a baby after birth, if that's what you're saying.
What's an abortion?
An abortion is terminating a pregnancy. There's no doctor in the hospital terminating a baby that is born healthy.
Okay, but mothers do it. What's the difference?
Mothers, then it's murder because it's a living human being at that point.
But it wasn't when it was in her belly. You said it was. You said it's an abortion. You said it's not a murder.
If it's before 28 weeks, and this is or if it's going to cause
Hold on, say,
a
but what if it's
medical
after 28
problem
weeks?
after 28 weeks, it's a human. It is by all means something that could live on its own and be a human being.
So an unborn child is a human being.
After 28 weeks, it is more human than it is fetus at that point.
See,
yes.
You got this word thing. You like you'll say
because it's not black and white. It is
like,
definitely more complex
then you're
than
like,
that.
oh, it's a human, but like kind of sort of human, but it's like 75%. Like what?
Yeah, I mean, that's how time works. It's like how cooking works. Like it's not a cake if you only cook it 75% of the way.
Chad, let me know if y'all understand anything he's talking about right now. Does anyone, bro, to be honest with you, I don't even know half the people in this comments. I literally don't know them. I'm just gonna see what they want to say. I'm not following. I know I'm a little slow.
You want to change topics to something else?
Hold on a second. Let me see what people are saying. These are people. There are people that want to get abortions called eugenics. Yeah, basically.
That's not what eugenics is.
Pretty much. When else do we murder a rapist child? Oh, he's about the incest and stuff earlier. It's like less than 0.0% of the time, whatever. Anyway, people always use that as the example. It's like that's super rare. It's like it's like saying somebody born with
we've already seen
it happen, yeah, but it's not normal.
We've already seen women being attempted to be forced to have those.
I personally know nobody in my life in over 30 years of living. I've never met a woman that said she was impregnated by a family member and it was incest. I know
That's
no one.
Literally the number one reason children are molested is by a family member.
We're talking about pregnancy.
Right, but some of those lead to pregnancy.
I don't know anybody personally that's been impregnated by a family member. Do you know?
I don't either. No.
Do you know anybody?
But I know it happens. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't happen.
But I do know women that had abortions. I do know women, or I do know people that have been murdered. Like it's crazy how these other statistics we know about, but you're naming incest, and like you don't even know nobody that's even been impregnated by a family member, a cousin, uncle, dad, nothing.
I know people that have been molested by family members, but I don't know anyone's been impregnated. No.
Right.
Other than the stories I've read of women having to, it is rare, but it still shouldn't be illegal for them to get the care they need for that.
Yeah, it's super rare, man. It's very rare. And then to be real, man, a lot of people lie too on people. They lie all the time. A lot of females will lie. Not just putting on females, males do it too. But a lot of females will lie and say they got molested or raped or whatever, and it's not even molestation or rape. But they just want to get somebody in trouble, or they were involved in the action, but then when they get found out, they don't want to look like they were a part of it, so they say, "Oh, I was a victim." You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it happens, but that's also very rare.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot. I know females like that too. By the way, I do know them personally. Let's see here. Okay, we'll go through some of these human.
I do want to also say from last week that you believe being gay is a choice, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely believe that. Do you believe being Christian is a choice?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I would say being Christian is more of a choice than being gay.
How's that?
Because I don't think anyone has this idea when they hit like 6 or 7, like, am I going to like boys or am I going to like girls? I've never met anyone that didn't immediately know when they hit age of being attracted to someone that I'm into boys or I'm into girls. Do you know anyone that had to make that decision that was like, what should I do? That wasn't just naturally attracted one way or the other?
Decisions. Like just as easy as it is to make a decision to get with a female, you can be with a boy. Like, I mean, what's hard about that?
Can you? I sure can't. That's not something I've ever considered.
What's hard about that? People are gay everywhere. Like, it's obviously not hard, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're because they were born that way. That's who they're interested in. They're not interested in.
You said that easier to be a Christian than it is
No, I
choose
said
to be
it's more of a
a gay. Because
choice to
you
be
said
a
you're born to
Christian.
be gay.
I said it's more of a choice to be a Christian than it is to be gay.
Right. I'm saying they're both a choice because they're both lifestyles. They're both, you have to make a decision within your mind and then act on it.
When did you choose to be straight?
When I was, what, 5?
So you had
I
to
would
make a
say I would say
decision.
5 is when I acted on it because I watched TV. I saw my mommy and my daddy, right? I had a mom, a female, a dad, a
Right.
male. They were together, right? So I saw that in my
Uh-huh.
household first. Then I watch TV and I see all these mommies and daddies with kids, right? Then I have 2
Right.
moms, 2 dads, a boy
But
girl, and another boy girl. Like it's
how
like,
many people do
right?
you know that grew up with us that are still gay despite all of that? They're
Yeah,
still
see, they
like,
decide to be gay. They choose to live the lifestyle. Yeah.
so
It's not
you're
you're
so what
born. I
this
look
is
like,
what
right? Like what
this
you
is
look
what
like
is
you were born that way. What you look like, right? You don't choose to have that skin tone and your eye color, right? I
I
didn't
don't
choose
think you choose
this,
your sexuality either.
but to go get married to my wife, I had to choose to get married to my wife and choose her in particular, right? I didn't
Yeah,
just
but
wake up one morning and like, I
that's
got to
not
get
the
married
same
today.
as choosing to be
And
gay.
oh, I know exactly who I'm going to get married to. Now I have to make a decision and go meet the person, talk to the person.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's
saying? Grow
not
relationship.
but that's not the same thing as someone that literally has tried to be with multiple women, not working for them. They realize they're gay. Like, you know what I mean? That's not choosing your wife. Of course, you chose your wife, but you didn't choose to be straight, to be attracted to your wife in the first place. That came naturally. If not, then you might not be as straight as you think.
Yeah, everybody knows to not be gay because even gay people are conflict. Even the ones that claim that they got this long 35-year relationships with one person, they're conflicted, right? Because they know
No.
within their heart they're not living the right way.
According
They
to
all
what?
know it.
Your choice of religion?
Hmm?
According to your choice of religion, they're not living the right way.
No, just it's called basic biology.
Because they can't have kids? Is that the problem here? They can't have abortions either. You should love them.
No, I'm talking about a person that's gay is choosing to do that. I'm saying when they choose to do it, they're conflicted. They want to put on to the world that, oh, I'm came out and whatever, this is me, this is who I am, right? But
Not
in
not not
reality, they are
necessarily.
conflicted
Why are they conflicted?
because they know that the life that they're living is not a true life. It's not right. They know that it's wrong
Yeah, how is it wrong? Why is it wrong?
because it's supposed to be a male and a female. You ever heard opposites attract?
Right, but opposite
Right.
personalities
So
attract too.
if you get a magnet and you get another
You and
magnet,
I are
right? They
proof
got to
that
come together,
opposites
right? Because
attract,
it's
by the
opposites though.
way.
It's a positive and a negative, right?
Right.
So,
I would say this conversation is proof that opposites attract. But that doesn't
but what
mean
I'm
we're
saying,
going to get in a
pause,
relationship
pause.
uh again, to what standard are you saying that it's the wrong lifestyle? Because they can't have children? That's your standard?
No, it's wrong because you don't put 2 males together or 2 females together. That's wrong in itself. That's against nature.
There are gay animals in almost every species in nature.
We're not animals. Are you an
We're
animal?
apes.
Are you
Yeah,
an animal?
we are part of the ape group. We
You're
are
part of the ape
primates.
group. I'm not a part. I'm not an ape. You're the ape.
I'm a primate. Yes, a human being is a primate. Homo sapien is a type of primate. The smart one, it's not one that's like any of the other ones. We evolved
Yeah,
differently.
it's so different. We made airplanes and helicopters and computers.
Right.
I don't know any apes to do that.
Yeah, well,
What?
until they eat magic mushrooms and like come online, they might not be any smarter for a minute.
But what's crazy is like, so you're telling me that because chimpanzee has gay sex, it's an animal that you're supposed to stoop to that level?
No, but I'm saying if an animal was created by God to be gay, then it's clearly something he's doing. He's creating people that way. I do think God created people to be gay. If there is a God, there he's making them that way at birth.
Do you think God created people to be rapists?
Well, according to God, he did everything. So yes, I think he's also responsible for children getting cancer and all kinds of stuff.
I'm saying, but he created an individual that is supposed to rape.
Well, rapist, not so much, because rapist isn't a sexual orientation. Rapist is usually a learned behavior filled with a bunch of violent pasts and a really big problem with women and intimacy.
That's the same thing with gay people. Like trans people, gay people, they 99.9% of the time, they were touched by somebody, they were molested, something happened to them as a child, and it confused them, and they started delving into some stuff.
Can you show me where you got that statistic?
They get assaulted as at a young age, then they become promiscuous growing up, right? Or they don't have a dad around, and they become promiscuous because they want a male figure in their life. They don't have a dad, so they go to any male that'll give them attention. It's the same thing. It's childhood trauma.
I do not think it's childhood trauma. I think most of them are perfectly sane.
You just said rapist. You just said that for a rapist.
Rapists for sure, because you're doing a crime. Like they're literally taking something over.
They're making a decision to go act on something, right?
They're making a decision to take over someone else's autonomy.
Right.
And it's usually a power trip.
To go act on something, right?
Right. But
so a gay person, do they not make a decision to go act on something? What's the difference?
You mean go fall in love with someone and have a life of happiness?
Yeah. Is that not they don't make that decision?
I mean, that's not even comparable. I don't understand how you compare those two.
Did they make the decision to do it or not?
Did they make the decision to marry the love of their life?
To have a relationship, to kiss, hold, touch, shake hands with.
They made the decision to act on it, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with them having the thoughts in the first place.
So they made the decision, right?
They made the decision to act on their natural feelings.
They make the decision. Okay, they make the decision. All right. So what's the difference between them making that decision and the rapist making that decision?
Because the rapist isn't a natural feeling.
What's the difference?
The rapist one is committing a crime against another person.
That has nothing to do with them making the decision. I'm saying, what's the difference between one making the decision and the other one making the decision?
There's not a difference in making a decision, but there's no difference in making that decision and the decision to be a Christian. They're not related in any way at all.
I didn't talk about being a Christian. We're talking about, I asked you, a gay person that makes the decision to be gay and live out that lifestyle.
They're making the decision to be happy.
The person, kissing, getting married, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm saying, imagine that person, and then imagine the rapist doing what they do. I'm saying, what's the difference in the decision making?
There's not really a difference in making a decision, but that doesn't really mean anything about either one of them.
Bingo, thank you. There's no difference, right? Because they're both making a decision in their mind and saying, "I want to go do this," so they go do it. It ain't about what they're being born to do. They make a decision to go do it.
What is your point with that? Because that doesn't mean anything.
Are you listening? I said.
Yeah, you're saying that
both make a decision in their mind.
They're both making decisions. One's making it.
I'm going to go and I'm going to control that woman. I'm going to hurt her, show her my power, whatever it is that they do, whatever weird stuff.
Right. They're making a horrible decision. The others are making a perfectly fine decision.
They're making decisions within their mind, and then they're acting on it physically.
Right. The same way you made a decision to marry your wife. Like they're all related. You're all acting on what's in your mind.
Right. Except the only difference is I'm right in what I'm doing because it's a natural order of life. The rapist is doing something.
How is it the natural order of life? We've already established in nature, animals.
That's the only difference. We're all making decisions, man.
Yeah, but we've already established in nature there are gay animals, so the natural order of life does support gay.
So I want to be clear though. You do agree we all make decisions,
We all make decisions, but I don't think we choose to
right?
be gay or straight.
So if you're making the decision, that would mean that you're not really born to be a certain way, right? Like I'm born to look like this. Like I
No.
grow this hair. It's not me doing it. I'm born to do it. It's just in my genetics, right?
Yeah.
You
It's
have
also
a
likely in your
proven growth like that,
genetics.
right? You don't make yourself do that. You're just born
Right.
with the ability of doing that. It's different. It's
Exactly.
just
Like
habit.
you're born being straight or gay.
I'm born with brown eyes. I don't make that decision.
You were
But
also born straight. That is what you're ignoring here.
no, you're born. You're born. You're supposed to be straight in order to continue life. You can't have life without
If
being
that's your
straight.
goal, then
That's
yeah, but
natural
that's
order of
not.
life.
If the natural order of life was everybody to have kids, I think we'd be in chaos right now. I think the natural order is survival of the fittest.
It's not about everybody having kids, but the natural order is in order to have a kid, what do you need?
But yeah, but not everybody wants to have kids. Not everybody
That
cares
doesn't
to
matter
have a
though.
family.
That doesn't matter though.
And I still don't see how you are. I still don't get how you think that people are making a choice unless you're constantly making a choice to be straight. That would be the only way that makes sense to me because I've never had to think about it. I've been straight my whole life from the beginning. I've never been like, am I gay? Like, no, I'm not. So if you're thinking someone else is making a choice, that makes me think that you're making a choice to be straight in the first place.
We all make choice. When you're a child and you're developing, it's like this right here. Like when you're a child, not every child understands that it's wrong to be gay. They don't understand that.
Because
So
it's
if you
not.
grow up and you see two mommies or two daddies or two uncles or two aunties or whatever together, your mind you get confused. This is why I go back to what I
Why?
was talking about when it's not you can't have this stuff in public
Why would you get
because kids
confused? You
see it
just
and
tell
be
them
confused. So
these are your two
now
aunties. They love
it's
each other
not
like
living a
mom and dad do.
lifestyle. That's what happens. We learn from watching in other people.
Yeah, I don't think you learn sexuality from watching other people. We saw gay people when we were growing
Hold on
up.
a second. How do you know how to have sex?
How do I know how to have sex?
Yeah.
Oh, there was sex ed and then lots of learning with women
Somebody
to
taught
figure.
you.
Yeah,
Somebody
a
taught you,
woman
correct?
taught me.
Thank,
Yeah.
bro, this is so easy. Thank you. I mean, we're agreeing. Somebody taught you. So in order for you to know how to do it, you had to learn some at some point a little something, right? You just don't know it. It don't just come to your mind like, oh,
Yeah,
this is what I do.
I learned how to have sex by having sex with women. That's
No,
how
you
I
just said
learned.
it. Sex education. You just said that.
Sex
You can't go back
education
now and
too.
change it. You said
Yeah,
what came to
sex
mind.
education let me
We
know at
all
least the
had, yeah. So
mechanics,
thank you. We
but
all learned about this.
I wouldn't say I was any good at it until I learned with women. But the point is, it doesn't matter. It works the same for the gay guy. He just does it in a different place. Like it's not like that's how he would have learned it. He's not going to. No one's teaching him that other than the person he's with. And do you really think in this climate people would come out willingly trans when people are really trying to like exclude them and pass laws against their existence
Hold on a second.
if they
Last time
weren't
I
born
checked,
that way?
in their laws that protect them federally,
There should be, but they've been interpreted that to not include the transgender community.
hold on, federally,
Federally, yes.
dude, have you not seen a job application? Job application says you can't discriminate based on gender identity, sexual orientation, race, color, religion, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. It talks about trans people in
It
that's a
says
federal
gender
law, man. What are you
identity.
talking about?
I haven't seen it say gender identity on anything I've looked at.
I've seen it on a lot of stuff. Gender, it
Well,
says
that's
gender
good.
orientation and sexual orientation.
I'm all for it. Who cares? Let them be
So
themselves.
no. But what I'm saying is, what you just said was a lie because you said that people are trying to take away their rights and stuff. No, they're the opposite. The
Have you
government is
seen
giving
any
them
of the
protection.
200 bills passed across the country banning transgender care, banning them from sports, banning them
Hold on,
from.
stay on there. Go back real quick. You said they're banning transgender care. What does that mean?
They're not letting them get the care they need to
Like what?
transition. Healthcare.
Like what? You
Like
being vague. I want specifics.
like hormones, like puberty blockers, like
Oh,
things their doctors have recommended.
Hold on, so make sure I'm straight. So if a trans person got shot, they wouldn't be refused care, right?
If a trans person got shot, would they be refused care? In Florida, they can be, which is scary, but in other states, they cannot be. No.
Quit lying.
That is part of the bill.
If a gay person, trans person, whatever, gets shot, they're going to go to the hospital just like any other person, and they're going to get seen about just like anybody else. Stop lying.
I'm not lying. That was the Florida law that they made it so that if you have a religious disagreement with somebody's lifestyle, you can refuse care even as an EMT. I don't think it passed, but it was proposed, and that's enough.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? All right, let's not be disingenuous, right? So I'm talking about laws as they stand. I'm not talking about anything where somebody's like throwing a bill out there and just
Missouri banned transgender care for even adults.
In real life, in every state in the country, if a trans person gets shot or stabbed or anything, has a heart attack,
right,
they're going to go to the hospital and get treated like anybody else.
But if they've had a sex change,
is that true or not?
That's true.
Okay, so when you said that they don't get the same health care, they're denied health care, that's a lie.
They don't get the health care they need. If you're a trans person and you've had a sex change and you are no longer able to get hormones, you will die.
We ain't got there yet. I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding something clear.
Okay.
When they get shot and go to the doctor, they're going to get seen about, right? Just like anybody else, right?
That is the hope for sure. There are definitely places trying to stop that.
So and that's legally, right? That's legally. It's not like there's no law that says
it's also the oath of a doctor. It's also the Hippocratic oath to do no harm.
Nowhere in America. So that was a lie when you just said that. So now let's get to the real. Let's get to the root of what
I mean, it was a bill they proposed under DeSantis.
You said hormones. Let's say that again.
It was a bill they proposed under DeSantis.
No. You said that trans people don't get the health care they need in certain states. Now, name me the states and name me what you're talking about. You said
Missouri. Missouri has banned not only for minors, which is also wrong, but for adults. And if you're an adult who has transitioned and had a sex change, you will die if you don't get those hormones. They've basically said, get out of the state or die.
They got the hormones. Hey, man, you shouldn't have got hormones. But the thing is this. When you said that they don't get the health care they need, that was a lie. You meant that they don't
need hormones.
Transition health care that they want.
Right. The health care that will prevent them from dying, they cannot get.
Getting if you're a male and you want to be a female, getting hormones is not going to save your life. You're a man already. What are you talking about?
If you're a man who has transitioned to a female and had the sex change, you no longer produce testosterone.
Before that.
And you don't.
When you get transition, you're a male, right? And then they want to be a female.
That's what the word transition means. Yeah.
A female, right?
I mean, a lot of them are. A lot of them are if they don't have the support.
Doesn't kill you, right? Have you died yet from being
a male?
Not.
No, it's not from that. It's from the lack of support from their community that makes them feel completely worthless.
Yeah, but see, that's separate. I'm talking about within themselves, them just being what they are. That's not going to kill them, right?
No, but not letting them be who they are is definitely going to lead them to a much higher rate of suicide, and that will kill them.
You're trying to go into the weeds.
I mean, that's why they're recommending this healthcare is because there is a huge spike in suicides for kids that don't get it. That's the reason the medical associations of the world have said this is a life-saving healthcare. This is something that should be done in the rare individuals that do feel they're in the wrong body. Again, that's not a lot. That's like, I think there's 150,000 in this country. Like, it's not a lot of the country. I don't know why we think we need to regulate anything that's not really that big of a presence. Nobody's seen a trans person and becoming trans if they weren't already trans.
Okay, so if it's not that big of a presence, then why are we making laws that would allow them to transition if they're not even that much of a big deal? That don't even make sense.
We're not making laws that allow them to transition. We're making laws that disallow them to transition. They were already had the laws that they were allowed to transition.
For them to do it in the first place.
You have the right to get medical care. You have the right to get medical care in this country.
Huh?
You have the right to get medical care in this country. There was never a law that needed to be passed. It is medical care.
That's not medical care.
What do you qualify? Who do you go to ask if something's medical care or not? I prefer myself to look at the American Medical Association. I like to look at worldwide consensus on what the doctors are actually saying.
Oh, good. Okay, then. So if you go to Uganda, Kenya, if you go to North Korea, China, would they agree with you?
Would they agree with me? Hell, yeah. Probably not, because they're
probably not, right? So
they're all fascists.
Do their opinions matter or no?
Do their opinions matter? Their scientists' opinions matter if they're not coerced, but
yeah. So if they don't agree with you, then are they part of the consensus or no?
I mean, I think even most of the doctors in those countries also agree that that is healthcare.
So how come in their country they don't have it then?
They do have trans people in their countries.
Who? What country?
All of those countries have trans people. There are trans people everywhere. They might not be able to be out.
So are you, hold on, are you saying that they can legally have it in their country? Or are you saying people just move there and now they're trans in their country? Or they like go to the hospital?
They're born trans. So people are born trans. People are born everywhere. People are born trans everywhere.
Going to the hospital and all that stuff you talking about earlier.
Do they have medical care and rights in those countries? I don't think so. No.
Yeah, no.
But I don't know. I'm not really familiar with China's healthcare system. They might. I don't know where they stand on that.
You said what you said, right? They don't have that, right? Because that's not their.
I'm not sure. I mean, I really don't want to say.
That's not reality to them. It's not. It's crazy world. We do this stuff in the Western hemisphere, America, Canada, England, and Finland, and places.
Right, we're America. Native Americans had a third gender.
Africa, the Middle East, they don't do that. So, do their opinions matter or no?
Do their opinions matter? Their expert opinions would matter.
You talking about? You said the consensus. Who's the consensus?
Well, the Western world, the world that we're part of, the one that the one that has our doctors, that have our interests.
I got so Middle East, Africa, they don't matter. It's on the Western world makes sure everybody does the same thing.
That's the medicine we follow in America is Western medicine.
That's called supremacy. That's what that is.
Okay.
SJWs call that supremacy?
No, that's not supremacy.
How is it not?
Because we're talking about Western medicine.
Is saying, hey guys, we gotta do it this way, and then in Africa and Middle East, they're saying, no, we don't want to do that, and they're like, you gotta do it.
We're talking about Western medicine. We're talking about the most advanced medicine in the world, and that is the consensus in Western medicine. That's what America has. I'm not talking about China's medicine because we don't use China's medicine. We didn't even use their vaccines when they had extra. Native Americans had a third gender, yes. That is 100% true. Native Americans were very big on a third gender. There's a third gender in American Samoa still. It's the idea of a man who's more feminine or a woman who's more masculine. They respected them kind of as gods in a way. That they were very special connections to the spirit world. And we're in America, so like it's been here longer than we have.
You said the Western world is the consensus, and everybody else don't matter. That's crazy.
No, I'm saying the Western medicine is the consensus for Western medicine because we're talking about American medicine.
No. But you said, rewind it.
And I would even argue that the rest of the world would agree with that same consensus.
You said the world. You didn't say Western world. You said the world, and then you got specifically said, "Well, Western world makes the consensus." I'm like, but you said the world, so.
I guarantee you right now that the rest of the world also agrees with that. Maybe not Saudi Arabia, Maybe not
Saudi
Iran.
Arabia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Egypt, Jordan, Syria,
Egypt and Jordan are probably
Israel.
fine.
I keep going. Let me keep going. Uganda, Kenya,
They're fine with it.
Congo.
I don't think they have any
I keep
problems with
going.
trans people.
I can name a bunch of countries that don't agree with you.
A lot of African countries have a third gender as well.
Having a third gender and actually accepting it as something that's normal is totally different.
I mean, I think it was pretty much accepted as normal up until 2018. No one seemed to have a problem with Chaz Bono.
Dude, if you go to any of them countries I just named and tell them what you just told me, they'll probably take your head off.
Yeah,
Like
but
literally,
that's why we're in the greatest country in the world.
and throw you off for real.
I mean, but we're in the greatest country in the world.'re in America and we're talking about America. These are
I mean,
American
that's true
issues.
enough, but I'm just saying the reality of how far off the track you are. Like you're that far off the track that if you go over there and say what you just said to me, they ain't gonna be talking to you. Ain't be no words. The only thing you're gonna be seeing is the
Right,
God.
but I don't live my life thinking, oh, what would Saudi Arabia want me to say? Like that's not my goal. Is if Saudi Arabia is mad at me, that's probably a good thing in my book.
Well, I mean, it may be, but I'm saying when it comes to we're talking about human nature and what's normal, what's biology. And I mean, if we're talking about biology, I think Saudi Arabia matters. I think any country matters when we're talking about biology.
Right, but even biology admits there's a third intersex. Like
I mean, to be
biology has
real,
never
the only
been.
people that got it wrong is the Western society. We're the only ones that's confused. Well, I mean, you confused. Y'all confused. I ain't confused. Y'all confused.
I mean, you can say that, but even in biology, they talk about a third gender because we have intersex.
See, I mean, but see, intersex is not transgender or transsexual, right?
No, it's a different thing
Right.
altogether, but it's still not.
Y'all like to mix and mingle all these terms like they're the same thing, but they're nothing the same.
I mean, it's a gender. If you're using gender based on genitals, what would you put in intersex person that has both sets? What would you put that person's gender
I leave that
as?
up to that person. But once again, I'll use your terminology, right? You said that is so small of a population, it don't even matter. So I agree with you. It don't even matter.
There are more intersex people in this country than there are trans people. And people seem to have a big problem with trans people.
Yeah, because hold on a second. How many intersex people do you see on TV talking about, hey, I'm intersex?
They don't usually do that. That's not something that
they don't do that. But transgenders are everywhere on TV.
I mean, I don't see a lot of trans people on TV, but I'm not watching the right-wing media that's throwing it down everyone's throat, making this a big deal. Like, I'm not seeing CNN talk about it.
Dude, it's on. It's so bad. They got a dude on Sesame Street that was transgender. His name is Billy Porter. You want to look him up real quick? I'll look him up real quick.
I'm all for it. Why not? Why shouldn't they? What's wrong with that?
I'm just proving you to be a liar again.
How's that? How did I'm lying?
We're not on TV.
Saying I'm not seeing a lot of I'm not seeing anyone pushing trans people down your throat.
All right, I'm gonna show you somebody right here live.
How's that being pushed down your throat?
It's on Sesame Street.
Okay. You don't have to watch Sesame Street. You can change the channel.
But I'm saying, you said you don't see it anywhere. It's on Sesame Street. Kids see it. If the kids see it, I mean, how you missed it?
Oh no, the kids might be tolerant of people. Like that's good for them.
Let me go ahead and pull this in real quick, man. This is crazy. Look, man, this is too easy, bro.
I don't know what you think you got, but you don't.
This is too easy.
Like you're saying there's trans everywhere. You're talking about one example in Sesame Street.
What is that? What is that? You tell me what that is.
That's a trans person.
Trans what? What is that?
I don't know what their preferred pronouns are.
No. I'm asking you what do you see? I ain't asking you what do you think they are. I'm saying what do you see? I ain't asked you to talk to him. I
I
asked you what he
see
what
a
he
guy.
identifies as a mat, a carpet. I'm saying, what do you see right there? What is that?
I see a Muppeteer.
I'm talking right here. I'm
I
talking
can't see your
about
cursor.
I'm talking about this right here. What is that?
That's a guy wearing a dress,
Thank you. Right? That's a male.
much like the
I'm not gonna say
Scottish.
that's not a man, but that's an adult male right there. Right? And he's
I
wearing a
again, I
dress.
don't want to misgender
He's
them. I don't.
choosing, he's choosing to wear a dress. And he's with Elmo on Sesame Street. Right? And
Okay.
this is in our faces everywhere.
Yeah, Elmo was pretty big about teaching us to love our neighbors and treat everybody with respect. So that works. Like that's the kind of the whole thing about Sesame Street is to respect everybody. So I don't see why I don't have a problem with Elmo being uh, voice acted by a trans person.
I don't know if his voice actor. He wasn't voice actor. That dude was on the show as his own person. A
No,
thing.
more
Some kind
power
of
to him.
thing.
Again, I think a kid, you're going to be like that person's trans. They feel like they should be a woman when they're a boy, and the kid's going to be like, oh, okay. I don't care. Like, I don't think a kid is going to be like, oh, maybe that's me. I think they're just going to be like, oh, okay. Same with the whole idea that, oh, how am I going to tell my kids that my brother is gay? It's like you tell them that this is your uncle and this is his husband, and he loves him the same way your mommy and I love you
Yeah, I'll be
or
like,
love each
man, look,
other. Like,
I'll be like, man, that's your uncle, man. Your uncle's a fag. That he does gay stuff. We don't do that. Okay. He lives a lifestyle. We don't condone that. We don't do that. So he lives his lifestyle. He don't come over to the house because we don't allow that.
I
And we're gonna live
that's
this way.
so
That's
weird to
how we
me to
handle that. That's
just
how we're handling
disown your
that.
family.
Everybody over here, I ain't over here being soft man talking about he's into whatever. Nah, that's a fag right there. We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's how men talk about. And we don't do that, man.
I,
Ain't no
I
way.
tend to I tend to like to support my family, but
I don't support
that's
that. I don't care what they are. They can be my daddy, mama, child, whatever. I don't condone that. Period. Like if they go sell drugs, I don't condone that either, right? So I'm not gonna be like, oh well, that's my
I
brother.
really
So
hope
it's okay
for
for him
your
to sell drugs. He's
sake.
my brother. That ain't how that work.
I really hope for your sake your kids do turn out to be straight because I don't think they'll ever talk to you again if they're not.
Well, they ain't. I mean, that wouldn't be your decision, though, right? Because you ain't in the house, right?
I mean, I'm not in your house, no.
Right. So it wouldn't even matter.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
I mean,
I'm just saying. I hope
your
you
whole
don't
premise
ruin
is
a chance at a
that it don't matter
relationship.
what kids see out in public because it's not in their house. So if you're not in somebody else's house, then from what you're saying, it wouldn't even matter, right? What I
Well,
do,
no, I
what I
don't
don't
think the
do, it don't
government should
matter,
tell you how to raise your kids.
right?
I just hope for your sake you don't lose a relationship with one of them if they do turn out to be something that you're not expecting.
No, man. I think once again, y'all get confused. Y'all think that love is acceptance. Love is not acceptance. Acceptance don't mean you love somebody just because you accept something to be what they are, or whatever, what they claim to be. That's not love. Y'all get that confused. Like I say, y'all talk about like y'all unbelievers and atheists and stuff like that. Y'all don't understand that. Y'all think accepting somebody is loving them. That's not the same.
I think you can't love someone if you don't accept them.
You definitely can love somebody without accepting the
You
bad
don't have
behavior.
to support their
You know what I'm saying?
decisions or their
I don't
actions.
support try to kill somebody, but I can still love them enough to tell them that they're wrong. And I hope that they repent of what they did.
Yeah, but you would still accept them as a person and accept them as your child, even if you disagreed with their decisions. You still love the person.
But I don't accept them being a killer.
No, but
Just
that's not
as
what I'm
just
asking you to
as I don't
accept them
accept them
for.
being a homo.
I mean that I
Just
just don't understand
whatever.
why you would have children to not support who they are going to become and want to have them be in a certain way. Like I don't know why I would not have kids and be like you're going to be exactly like me or I'm not going to support you anymore. I think the whole point
Did
of
I say
having
be like
children.
me?
No, but if you're having children, the point is to support them in whatever they become. And you don't get to decide that. It's
Says
their
who?
life.
Who said that?
I mean, that's
Where
what
you get
I'm
that from?
saying.
Where you get
I'm
that
getting
from?
from my parents, from their parents, from the love and acceptance I've had my entire life, no matter what, that I
See,
know
that's why
my
you're
parents
adopted.
will
That's why you're
always love
adopted.
me.
That's why you're confused about what a baby is, when a baby is viable, being a trans kid and stuff. That's why you're confused. Because
I'm
you've
not
been allowed to
confused.
just make your decisions about life, and you have no there's no structure and order in what you believe in. You've contradicted
There
yourself
is
over
structure and
and over
order.
again in this
My
life.
it's a very
You know what I'm saying?
simple
And literally, that's
philosophy.
why.
The
There's
way I
no
live my
structure,
life is a
there's no
very
order in
simple
what you believe in.
philosophy. It's that you treat other people the way you want to be treated. You don't judge and you let that up to the higher power or what else. But
All right,
that's
so
not our only purpose is to love each other and to be as nice and loving to each other as we can and to not
but
give a shit what people are doing with their own lives.
But why is it that y'all always bring up the Bible and about loving people and love people as you love yourself? Why y'all bring up the scripture y'all don't even believe in?
That's been around before scripture. Like the whole
But
idea of
you
treating
only heard
others
about it because of the
the
scripture.
way you want to be treated has been around since humanity
You
has been
only know
around.
that because of the Bible.
I mean, I would have figured that out on my own that if that guy does this to me and I don't like it, he probably doesn't like it if I do that to him.
Well,
That's a pretty basic.
it's always funny though. It's always funny that
The,
atheists and stuff they always bring up they always mention the Bible. It's like y'all don't even believe in the
well,
Bible.
I mean, it is. You're right.
Y'all build
Using the
scriptures the
Bible,
Bible.
using
What?
the Bible is a bad tactic, simply because the Bible contradicts itself in a way that you can pretty much justify anything.
Kind of like what you've been doing this whole life. Interesting.
Well, it's just it doesn't give you morals. It lets you reinforce yours by finding certain passages that tell you you're right. Doesn't actually give you, if you read it cover to cover like I have, everything it says the opposite in another passage. It gives you
Okay.
plenty of ways to basically justify how you're living without ever changing or growing.
Hmm. All right. Well, since we're talking about the Bible,
Okay.
let's talk about Israel.
Israel
So
had a horrible
Israel
attack.
and Palestine, Hamas, and all that stuff. Where do you stand on that situation?
Israel absolutely needs to respond. Hamas attacking them, they cannot let other countries around them think that they can do an attack like that without a response. I don't think this attack would have happened if Palestine had been free at this point. When you can't control your own water, your own electricity, you don't have the ability to see doctors without the approval of another state, you really have nothing to lose. And when you push people against a wall, this is like when we went to Iraq and we wiped out Saddam Hussein's entire regime. Their children, the ones that saw their parents killed in a war they didn't understand, formed ISIS. I think his strategy of keeping them in this basically open air prison, trying to move them all into Gaza to kind of ethnically cleanse the area that he wants in the West Bank, is only going to lead to more violence. And I think that we need to start thinking that this is on Bibi Netanyahu. This is on his policies for the last 15 years that have just not fixed anything. He has every right to defend Israel because Israel needs to exist. These are people that have been prosecuted in every country they've ever lived in. They need a safe state that is their own. They need to let Palestine have their own state. If Palestine then decides to attack them, they will have the full support of everybody to respond to that attack. But when you have them as like your own control, it's expected at some point, right? That they're going to do something horrific to just try to get any kind of response from you.
All right. So I agree that Israel needs support. Um, Israel is in a place where they're surrounded by enemies. So
Exactly.
a lot of people don't really know the geography and
Yeah, they have no allies over there.
yeah, there's not like so literally. So for people who don't understand the Middle East and Africa and that section of the world, like imagine your you're Kentucky, right? You're in Kentucky, you're surrounded by Indiana, Ohio, you got Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, all that around you, and they all hate you. Okay,
Right.
but you have an ally all the way over in Washington State or Oregon or somewhere.
California,
And
somewhere big with lots of money and
yeah,
resources.
let's say like Texas or California, right?
Right.
So you got a big state that supports you. They give you supplies. They make sure you're good. Anybody messes with you militarily, they come and they can give you some backup. That's their situation. Okay,
Right.
so all right, so just south and west, you got the Gaza Strip. So that's
Right.
where Nick was talking about the Palestinians.
That's
They
where they
live
have
there now.
2.2 million people, the size of a strip, the size of Manhattan, with 45% of them being children and the average age being about 25. They're a very young country with a very high birth rate, and they have a lot of death with the ongoing war
Yeah.
between the two
But they're not. But
countries.
they're not an actual country though.
They were.
But,
Palestine
but
was
they're
a
not
country
though.
for
They're not. They're not right now.
decades.
They're not.
Right now, they still have territories. They're not allowed to be their own country right now because
Yeah.
they are being occupied by Israel. But keep in mind, when Palestine was there, Muslims, Jews, and Christians lived in Palestine. It wasn't
So
like it
so
was
in
a
Israel the same thing. They have Christians, they have Jews, and they have Muslims.
right, but they also have an apartheid state where the Muslims are not treated the same way as the Israelis and Christians. They're put in the worst part of the towns. They're put in ghettos. They're not responded to as quickly with medical and police. They are in the areas that are not protected by the Iron Dome. So they get shelling from when Hamas basically shoots a Scud missile over there. It's not the same as being treated as an equal citizen. I don't
Okay,
know that
and
they.
that may be the case, but does that constitute getting attacked?
No, of course not. Hamas, being a terrorist organization, is going to do what terrorists do, and it's absolutely not acceptable. And they have to respond to that. But
Right.
keeping Palestine
Why
occupied.
allow them to create a nation though? What good would that be if they're already attacking another nation?
Why do you think
They're
they're
not even
attacking,
working right
though?
now.
They're attacking
So
another nation that's oppressing
giving them
them.
nation status, what is that? What good would that do?
I mean, it worked really good for America when we attacked our oppressor. I mean, we became our own country at that point. But they definitely need to have.
No. You ain't gonna do that. We didn't attack our oppressor. Our people left the oppressor, came and said its own place, and then the oppressor said, "No, y'all ain't finna do that." We said, "Yes, we are," and they said, "No, you're not. We're gonna show you not." And we said, "Okay, cool."
Okay,
And
then
then
look at Northern Ireland.
we beat them. So the bully came to us. We beat the bully up. In this situation with Israel, they're chilling. The Palestinians they attack Israel.
That is missing about 60 to 80 years of context. They have been literally occupied by Israel
Well,
since the
I was giving the
60s.
context. I was giving the geography of everything and all that. So I was giving I was setting it up. I was giving the context of people. So I get that there's been conflict, right, since biblical time.
Right.
Well, it's crazy, but the Bible once again comes in. The contradiction
I mean,
Bible,
I
right?
don't
They
think there
talk
was
about
that much
Israel and
conflict there
Jerusalem and
before the
all that
40s.
area is correct again, right? This has been going on forever, so it's nothing new. Right? I
But
really,
at the same time, you can't expect a country that you're literally not giving them enough water to even shower with. They're thirsty, they're hungry, they're not getting the medical. You're literally blocking them from getting any of that. And this is when you're not at war with them. Not right now. This is all the time. They don't have the right to vote for people. They don't have the right to have their own voices heard. They can't even fish in the river they're on. They don't have the rights to be there.
but don't they get aid from around the world?
Only if Israel allows it to go through. They're literally in charge of these countries. They're not letting them have their own. Like I said, if they let them have their own country and they attacked Israel, everyone in the world is on board with Israel responding to that.
But we all know that they will do it.
But will they? Because I think the reason they're doing it is because they want their freedom.
What?
I think they
They're doing it
want their
already. They're not
freedom.
even a nation yet. What do
They're
you
doing
mean?
it all. Well, they were a nation, and then there was a war, and then they split that into two nations.
What? Hold on. Say that again. They were a nation. Then what happened?
There was a war. They split into two nations. UN said this
You
is
would
your
have
two
thought.
nations. and
Right.
Palestine was still a
they give them
nation.
national status again.
And
What's gonna
since
happen? They're gonna
then,
attack again.
most of the land that UN and everyone agreed on belongs to Palestine has been taken over. They will go into people's houses, say you have to get out, and then they'll send them to the Gaza Strip.
Palestine only existed as a title put on the map by Romans when they destroyed Israel and resettled them.
That's true. Yeah, they were not innocent either. Like they definitely kicked out the Israelis at that time. But at more current times, they'd let them all back in.
Yeah, well, I like what this person right here said because I don't even know who this is, but
Yeah,
they
that would be
said,
great if they were letting them leave, but they are bombing the exits at the moment. They cannot leave where they are.
no, Jordan and Egypt can take in refugees, but they choose not to. That's what
They have
what
offered to take them in, but they keep bombing the exit.
No. The Jordan king, or whatever he is over there in Jordan, he said they are not taking in refugees. He didn't say nothing about it's because of some that Israel's doing. He said they're not taking them in because it's too dangerous and too much of a risk for Jordan to do it. That's what he just said it on the news. I heard.
They could say, like, I don't think any country is particularly happy about taking in refugees.
I was surprised. He speaks
no one,
English.
But you're saying, why don't they leave? They don't have money. They don't have the ability to leave without permission from the Israeli government.
Oh, I didn't say that. I was just saying what that person that commented said.
Why don't they take them in?
That Egypt and
because
Jordan,
those countries believe they have a right to be where they are.
To bring in, they could, but they refused not to, and they told why.
I mean, yeah, Oklahoma could take all the Native Americans, but was that the right move to force them over there? Like, this is their home too. They've lived here just as long, if not longer in some cases. Gaza Strip, they should be able to autonomously run that.
But once the war happens and one side wins the war, it ain't yours no more. That's how war works. If you don't like,
I mean, if you are all like, for war,
don't you live on occupied? Don't you live in a Native American land over there in Nevada?
Native America, not in this particular location, but up north there is Native American land. Yes.
So are you telling me Nevada wasn't Native American land?
We have a lot of Native American land. They still have a lot of their land. I'm sure we took land. I get that. At the same time, you have people here now in.
I'm saying you live in Nevada, right?
I live in Nevada. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm in Alabama, so we say Nevada.
It's wrong, but
that was native land.
Right. All of this was native land.
Now. If you're doing a live with me right now, you can care less about who used to have
right.
it.
So are you really saying, yeah, but how did we get this land? We genocided an entire group of people.
War. I said that. War. One side wins.
It was more than war. It was ethnic cleansing. It was genocide. It's the same thing they're doing now.
I'm saying, so it's already understood that Israel has what they have. It's understood that Palestinians or Hamas or whatever have what they have.
But they don't have it. They don't have control over it.
To attack Israel, and now they getting beat up, and now they're crying to the world and saying, "Oh, poor us. Our innocent people are dying." Y'all attack Israel. What do you expect to happen? It's called war.
Well, Hamas attacked Israel. This is not a war because it's not against Palestine. In Gaza itself,
is Hamas not Palestinians?
There are 25,000 people in Hamas. There are 2.2 million in Gaza. The vast majority have nothing to do with Hamas.
But everybody that lives there knows where they live, correct?
Yeah, they can't leave. That's the whole point.
No, that's not true because there are Palestinians that live in Israel.
There are Palestinians that live in Israel, but the ones in Gaza can't get out of there.
Hold on a second. But how did the Palestinians get there?
They were already in the territory when Israel took over.
Hold on a second. So everybody has been born. So babies that are like 3 years old, they've been there for the last 50 years. What?
That doesn't. I don't know what you're getting at.
You just said all the Palestinians were already there.
The Palestinians that are in Israel were in an area that was Palestine before Israel took it over, and because they were already living there, they were allowed to stay.
They're in other areas too, though. They're not stuck in certain areas. They're in Jerusalem. They're in different places in Israel.
They're in different places. Yeah, the West Bank is not being.
Stop.
They're not stuck in the West Bank.
You said it, but you said it when you said it in a way. You said they're only in this little pocket of area that they're allowed to be. No,
I'm talking about Gaza because we were talking about Gaza and Hamas, who's in Gaza.
I'm talking about Israel now. I'm saying the Palestinians that are in Israel. Because you said you just made it seem like Palestinians are stuck in Palestine, like in the Palestine area, right? But I said there are Palestinians in Israel.
There are Palestinians stuck in Gaza.
In certain little pockets that they're allowed to be in because of, whatever.
And they are losing land to Israel.
What you're saying.
They are losing land to Israel. There were Palestinians in an area that was Palestine. A lot of that land was taken over for what they said military purposes. They then fled to Gaza, where they weren't going to be going against the Israeli army every day. And those places were usually built into condos, houses, other kinds of things like that for the Israelis to settle.
So let me get it straight. So are you thinking that it's better for the Palestinians to flee Israel, so they could stay there and be taken care of, or they flee and go to Gaza Strip and be under the authority of Hamas? That's better off?
I think that when they're in Israel, they are more likely to be shot by Israeli soldiers than they are to be shot by Hamas soldiers. I think they are put in a place where they are so back against the wall and so afraid they see Hamas as at least something that is going to maybe attempt to protect them. They're wrong, but no one else is on their side out there.
They're getting what did Netanyahu say? He's gonna make it into rubble, right? So they think that that's better off than being in Israel.
I think they're treated as second-class citizens in Israel, and they feel like they're treated better.
Murdered or no?
I mean, they're getting murdered by Israeli bombs. They're getting murdered by airstrikes.
On Gaza Strip, but they were in Israel. That would be the case. That's what I'm saying.
There are plenty of Muslims being killed in Israel.
They're getting treated wrong for getting killed. Which one you want to do? I mean, come on, man.
They just want their own country. They just, like everybody else, they want their own.
I understand that part, but I'm saying logically, you're not being logically consistent, because if you're in Israel,
they do not. These are people who just lost their.
Go to a place that is not going to take care of you. Hamas ain't taking care of them people.
Well, one, they just got their house taken from them, their property and everything they own. They don't have much money. They can get to Gaza and have people they know there that will help them out. Israel's not going to help them out. They just took their property.
Israel takes care of people today. There are people, everybody watching this, there are Palestinians living in Israel every day.
Yes, they are in an area the Iron Dome doesn't cover.
Right now.
They are in an area that doesn't have the same running water and electricity that the rest of Israel has.
That ain't got nothing to do with living somewhere that you're protected, though. Like,
they're not. They're the first people to get hit by bombs.
There are people with bad water, right? But they're not going to say, hey, let me leave this city and go to a worse place. Like, they're not going to do that.
To them, that's what I'm saying, is in their mind, it's not a worse place. In their mind, that is the better place.
So what are you crying for then? When they're getting killed, what are we crying for?
Because the vast majority of them had nothing to do with this. The vast majority of them are under 25 years old. These are children. 45% of them.
25-year-olds ain't children.
45% are children in Gaza.
I didn't do it.
They have a high birth rate there because they have such a death rate.
Hold on. But who put them there, though?
They were kicked out of their home in the West Bank and they fled to Gaza.
Not the kids. You just said that there are
They were
45% that are under 25 or something
so
like
you're
that.
right. They were put there when their parents were in prison there in Gaza, and then they were born in
You
there.
just said that they fled.
Yeah, they fled the West Bank. You know, there are two parts of Palestine still within Israel, and they're not connected. There's the Gaza
But
Strip, and there's the West Bank.
right, but I'm saying, okay,
The people
they
fleeing the
still
West
went
Bank.
there. You just said they fled there, and they have their children. So is it
Right.
your fault that the children are there, or is it their fault?
The point is, they shouldn't be getting genocided just because they decided to go there.
Israel shouldn't be getting attacked for being
Of course
Israel.
not. Of course not.
Like,
But I don't think that's why
like,
they're getting attacked anymore. I think they're getting attacked because these people want freedom and they're going to keep going until they get it or die trying. I think if Netanyahu really wanted to
okay,
solve this,
so if they're willing, if we get to the point where we say, okay, they're willing to die, then when they die, life goes on. Like,
right, I'm
I'm not
just saying,
understanding
I
what are
think
we
if
missing here.
Netanyahu wants to stop the violence, stop the fighting from both sides, he lets them be free. That alone would definitely make them feel a lot more warm to Israel and not so pissed off anymore if someone from Israel gives them the freedom they've been asking for.
So let me understand
That
this.
could actually
So
lead to peace.
so Egypt has no play in this. Jordan has no play in this. Syria has no, like,
No,
so
because
no other
they're
country has anything to do with anything. Iran don't have nothing to do with anything. It's all about Israel. Israel is the supreme being of everything over there, right?
no, that's Israel is the supreme being of occupying Gaza. That's it. They're not behind Hamas.
Okay,
Russia
but why wouldn't
and
the people leaving
Iran are
go?
behind
So why would people
Hamas
leave? Okay, so hold on a second. If they're being oppressed by Israel, then why don't they go to Egypt or Jordan or Syria or anywhere else
because
in
it's
the
their
Middle East over
home.
there?
Would you leave
Huh?
your home?
Huh?
Would you leave your home if you were being oppressed by a
Hell
state?
yeah. What are you talking about? Are you serious?
So you would just give up your home and your
Are
history.
you hold on a second? Are you hold on a second? I'm gonna make sure I'm make sure I understand you right. You're telling me that if where I live at right now, if my government came and told me, hey, we're gonna cut your water off, cut your heat off in the wintertime, cut your air off in the summertime, all this type of stuff, you're literally asking me, am I gonna literally stay here?
Are you not going to fight back for your rights in your heritage in the place you grew up?
Fight who?
If the government's telling you they're cutting that off, you're not going to protest. You're not going to go out there with guns being like, you're not taking my water.
If the government tells me that they're gonna do all that, I mean, if I did go and fight, I wouldn't expect you to go cry for me. But I also have the option, and I most likely do it, is leave and go to Texas or North Carolina
Right.
or
What if they
Florida
cut
or
off the water
somewhere.
there too?
And they're not doing it.
What if this
Or
was
to
Mexico
another
occupying
city
us?
in my own state that's not doing that. That makes
What
no
if
sense to stay here and get treated like a third, fourth, fifth class person. What are you
this
talking
was
about?
Mexico occupying us and you didn't have a Texas to go to and you weren't allowed to leave the states?
Well, then I would fight, and then guess what? Don't cry when this is I get beat.
We're not crying though. Nobody's crying that Hamas is getting beat. Everyone wants Hamas pounded into the
What?
ground. People are crying that innocent Palestinians and innocent Israelis are dying because of an ideology that is not working.
I
This
mean,
idea that we must
in
occupy
the
these
situation that
people.
we just talked about, I'd be innocent, right? Because I'm just minding my business, living life. The government decided, hey, I'm not gonna cut off your water and all this stuff, right? What they got to do with me? I'm paying my
Right.
bill.
Most of the people in Gaza have nothing to do with any kind of attack on anybody. They didn't tell Hamas to do that.
Right, but they stay there though.
You act like they can't leave without Israeli permission. You understand they have a barricade around them with Israeli military, right? Like there's not an airport there. They can't fly out. They have no access to the river. They
They
can't get
have
on a boat.
checkpoints, man. They can cross the border. How did the Palestinians get into Israel?
The Palestine, I don't like. I think they'd use paragliders or some kind of crazy shit.
No. I'm talking about the people that work and live in Israel. How did they get there? The
They were
Palestinians.
in part of Palestine that then became taken over by Israel, saying they needed it for military purposes, and because it was their land, they were allowed to stay. Or they were people that when Israel was first incorporated, the people that were Palestinian in those countries were allowed to stay there. That's a perfect comment. Yeah, it's not a
Hamas isn't a country. They don't even have the support of the majority of the people in Gaza. Palestine doesn't exist. Israel exists. See,
well,
Palestine is not even a nation. That's why we got.
It's not an official nation.
It's not
No,
a country. It's not a nation.
because it's being occupied.
People.
It is an occupied territory. They want to get back to where they had a country. That's it. I do think that would lower the violence.
But look, it ain't gonna happen.
Then we're watching a genocide.
Except the reality is not going to look. America is not going to be taken over by anybody else. Is it? The world knows this, right? So
right, no one's asking them to take over Israel. We're just saying to let them have autonomy over themselves.
We're not talking about that. We're saying Palestine is not going to be a country. It's not going to happen.
I mean, like, why do you think these people don't deserve a right to have their own country?
I didn't say they don't deserve it. I said it's not going to happen.
There's two. So what things. Is Gaza? What is the Gaza Strip? That's not Israeli.
I think I should be a millionaire. Is it going to happen tomorrow?
But I thought we were talking about ethics here. I don't think we're talking about like what's going to happen. Of course, Israel's going to genocide all the Palestinians.
Should that happen for me?
I mean, we're talking about should I live and not be killed by an airstrike that I had nothing to do with, or should I be a millionaire?
But the airstrike only came because the people in that territory attacked them.
A terrorist group attacked them. We have terrorist mass shooters and the people that stormed the Capitol. That doesn't mean we're going after everybody.
Stop getting off on a tangent.
I'm just giving you an analogy.
Hold on a second. You just said, but they got airstrikes. No, Israel is chilling. The people on Gaza Strip attacked them. Then Israel went back. It went
right. Around. But what about the last year when Israel did do airstrikes and killed a bunch of children? They happened just last year. They did a few airstrikes that killed children. Like this isn't just this isn't like Israel did nothing at all and then got attacked. Now, again, it's a horrible attack.
Just randomly attack Palestinian people. They return fire.
They return precision missile fire to a Scud missile that almost always ends up in a parking lot.
Fire. It's like somebody shoots at you and you shoot back and you happen to hit 3-4 kids.
Here's the difference, though. It would be the equivalent of me throwing a ninja star at you and you bazooka back at me. It's a little bit different. Israel has all the weapons they could possibly want from America. Gaza has Scud missiles.
Returning fire. If you return fire, that means you were fired upon first.
Yeah, Hamas needs to be destroyed because you cannot. Israel absolutely has a right to exist. They absolutely have a need to have a country that is theirs. I just don't think they're making them any safer when you have a group of people right next to you that you're constantly controlling and telling them they can't have enough water to drink today.
Yeah, right there. Israel has always offered their land up for peace.
So they're willing to take everyone in Gaza?
They just want to destroy them completely, which is what I said earlier about if you make Palestine a nation, they're going to attack.
And then everybody is going to be on Israel's side because they were attacked by a nation and not by a group of people being oppressed. Like
nobody over there likes Israel. They're not going to take up for Israel.
They're not, but we are. We're not going to let Israel get wiped out.
Nothing going exactly. What are you talking about? So nothing's going to change. The Middle East is still going to hate.
What would change if you free Palestine? The thing that would change is that there would be less violence from Hamas towards Israel.
No, it wouldn't. What in the world? If the other Arab neighbors cared, they would take in more refugees.
I think we saw this one already.
Yeah, basically. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, that's the one from earlier. Now this is
Yep, the British put the name Palestine on that territory.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, see, I said this earlier. For some reason, Israel gets all the blame for everything, but you got other countries right around there. They don't do nothing.
No,
Either.
they're just as guilty. They're just as guilty.
But they
This is
don't
a
get.
humanitarian crisis with a group of
Did
people.
Egypt get airstrikes?
What's that?
Did Egypt get airstrikes?
Did Egypt get airstrikes or give airstrikes? No.
No. Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Because again, this is between Israel and Hamas. These are like no one's on Hamas's side.
But it's really not though, because there's other countries that are right in the area that are taking sides, right?
Well, yeah, Russia and Iran specifically, and I do think it's odd. Right after the Speaker of the House gets voted out based on what Trump wanted, that the same documents we know about him having and being indicted for had to do with Israel's defenses. And all of a sudden, Hamas is able to do the most devastating attack we've ever seen them do. Like I would wonder how they got that information, and if that wasn't leaked from the documents. I would even predict to see another indictment because of that.
Right. Yeah, it probably had nothing to do with that $6 billion that Obama gave Iran. Yeah, that probably had
Well,
nothing.
they haven't even gotten most of that yet. I think they've gotten like $500 million of that.
Right.
And it was their money that we got oil from them, and then we owed them that money.
Right. Let's see. He does realize Israel offers Arabs living in Israel citizens.
Absolutely. That's fine. That's fine for them to offer that, and that is a good thing for them to offer that. They still need to let Gaza be autonomous. Some people don't want to live under Israel.
Right. So go to Jordan, go to Syria, go to Yemen, go to anywhere else over there. They can't.
That's true. Yeah, Hamas is also, Hamas is horrible. Hamas is a dictatorship that won an election in 2001, then went nuts and took away their right to vote.
So if Palestine became a nation, who would run it? Hamas?
No, I don't think so, because I think we would help them form a democracy. If Hamas does run it, you have every reason to attack them then, with knowing that Palestine is behind it.
They run it now.
They run it now because they're not letting them have a choice. Most of them are completely fed up with Hamas and want them out, but they don't have elections anymore.
So how often do the people there attack Hamas?
I don't even know if they know where Hamas is.
Say what?
Like, I don't even, like, the people there don't have weapons. It's not gonna, like, not many people run in.
What's a weapon? What's a weapon?
Like a gun, a knife. Like this is not something a lot of them have to be able to take down an organized group like Hamas.
So you got to have a gun or a knife. There's no other weapons.
Like, are you going after the Proud Boys? I'm not. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be dangerous.
No, I'm saying I don't know what they got to do anything. I'm talking about there are no other weapons besides knives and guns. Is that what you just said?
Well, what do you think they could possibly do against people with fully automatic rifles?
Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna make sure I hear this right now. Earlier, you said that Hamas is only how many people?
25,000.
You said there how many people that live there?
2.2 million. But remember, 45% are children, and most are under 25.
Versus 2 million.
25,000 who are armed to the teeth versus half children.
2 million.
You probably about 1.1 million are adults.
Okay.
And a lot of them are going to be women. A lot of them.
So listen to me. I would take my odds with 1 million people with no weapon. Just fist, feet, and that's it. Versus 25,000 with guns. They ain't shooting a million people, bro.
You're also under the like they're in some kind of
Like,
presidential
you
suite.
don't even know. Have you ever been in a fight?
Of course, every
Right.
man that's
So did you
grown
have a
up been
weapon?
in a fight.
Did you use a weapon?
You use but that doesn't. If they
No,
have a
no, I'm
gun,
asking,
your
did you use a
fist isn't
weapon when
going to
you
do
fought?
shit. What's that?
Did you use a weapon when you fought?
No, but
What
they
did
didn't
you
have a
use?
weapon either. I use
What
my
did you use?
fists. I use my fists to fight.
Right. What did the other person use?
He used his fists. If he had had a gun, I would have lost.
Right, right. But if there were 12 people with you, would that person with a gun beat all y'all?
With an automatic, probably.
No, no, no. A gun.
Talking
See,
about one that
man,
just keeps firing. Like,
people, y'all see what he does? Every time I ask him a direct question about something, he always adds something else that had nothing to do with what I said.
I mean, you can say it has nothing to do with what you say, but I think it's all relevant.
Okay, look, we'll go with your So let's say a person has an automatic weapon. Is he want to add anything else? A grenade? Anything else before I get started?
No, but we're comparing Hamas, which is armed, to people that are not armed.
I know. So I'm asking you. So what armor? What all they got? Before I get
They got
started,
automatic weapons. They have rockets. They have grenades. They have all kinds of military equipment.
So, but I'm saying, but one soldier has what? What will one soldier have? One soldier.
I'm not familiar with Hamas's makeup of what I know. They have automatic rifles. They probably have a pistol. They probably have a grenade on them.
They have what? Maybe a couple guns on them with some ammunition. They probably wouldn't have like. They probably wouldn't. Every 25,000 don't drive a tank. They don't all have 25 automatic weapons with 1,000 rounds, right? One person.
No, of course not.
Right. So let's say that one person has an automatic rifle. Let's say they have 30 rounds. Is that fair?
I would imagine it's more than 30 for wartime.
50 rounds.
The point is, if you don't have a weapon,
let's say
you're not
100,
going to
right?
stand
So
much of a
I'm getting
chance.
somewhere. So they got a rifle with 100 rounds. Okay.
Okay.
For every one soldier with 100 rounds, you got 200 plus people to go fight. What's the
25,000 times 10 is
Hold
2.5 million.
What's the odds of one soldier with a finite amount of ammunition that he's going to beat 100 people that go attack him? What's the odds of that?
I mean, I think they're pretty good. If you're up in a tower, you're defending yourself, they can't get to you. Like, there's lots of war tactics that make it way easier to pick off multiple people. And they wouldn't be by themselves. They'd be all together defending whatever their stronghold is. I don't think that's a non-starter to have people that have no control.
You never read up on wars or anything?
Of course I have. I don't know any war that started with people that were unarmed, underfed, underwatered, that were emaciated, being able to rise up against an army.
You're not familiar with Nat Turner?
Of course I'm familiar with Nat Turner.
Okay, who was that?
He had weapons. He got the weapons. He was, I believe he was a former slave who led one of the greatest rebellions we've seen in our country.
Yeah.
And did some really good work. But he had weapons. They had weapons for sure.
Familiar with Haiti?
The country Haiti?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the country Haiti. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the fact that they never were enslaved?
I'm not that familiar with their history.
Yeah, so I educate you. Haiti never got enslaved. Look it up. You can go look it up, read about it all you want to. They never did.
Okay.
Now, isn't it odd that Haiti, this little bitty island with only so many people on the island, didn't get taken over by the British and all these other allies that came over here, that they were outmanned and everything.
Do they have a lot of resources in Haiti? Do they have a lot of resources in Haiti I'm unaware of?
I wouldn't think so. It's
Yeah, that's
Haiti,
probably why we tend to
huh?
the British tended to take over places that had lots of resources.
What? No, no,
They
no, no, no,
usually
no, y'all, you missing it. They tried to, and they weren't successful.
right. Yeah, that it's possible. I don't think that's the situation here when you have 45% are children and then the rest would be young parents. They're not going to
Hold on a
risk their
second.
life.
Let's go back. You said there are like a million adults. A million adults versus
So
25,000. Come
if
on, dude. Come on, man. Are
I
you,
mean,
bro? Come
again,
on. Are you serious?
they're not all in one place. They're not
They
obvious.
don't
They're
have
not
to be.
necessary.
There are far too many on this side.
Okay, we have a
For
lot
this
of
side to win, bro, they ain't gonna happen. They can't win that.
how would so in that same logic, we have a lot of neo-Nazis in this country. How would we be able to stop them? There isn't like one area. Like you can kill a bunch of them, but they're probably not going to get all of them. There, a lot of them are underground. A lot of them are hidden. Once they realize
What
they're being
power? Hold on a
attacked,
second. So even if they don't eliminate all 25,000, if they only kill, if they kill 3,000, they would probably be afraid. I mean, at some point, you don't have to kill everybody for them to surrender, right?
right? I just think it helps to
We
be able
know this,
to
right?
fight
This is
a
basic war,
war when
right?
you're not
You
starving.
don't have to decimate the population to win the war.
No, but it also helps to not be starving to even be able to start the war.
Okay, but they're alive, right? They're not
And
living.
they're
They
not
can't do
living
for
well,
themselves.
but they're alive.
They can't do for themselves.
I don't think
Are they
that's the
equals?
solution. The real solution is Israel destroying Hamas and then letting Palestine be free
I'm
after
saying,
that.
man. This is what I'm saying. I don't know if anybody else is. Let me see if anybody else is following what I'm saying. I don't know how this is hard to understand. They want to destroy it. I want somebody to comment. Are you following me? 1 million people versus 25,000. You telling me that the 1 million they don't know how to fight? They can't do nothing? Like that's crazy. But Haiti got attacked and won. Like
Right. I
it's
don't think
Haiti.
it's on the
It's
oppressed
Haiti.
people of Gaza to take out Hamas. Like I don't think that's something that would be like if we had a dictator. Like there's no way once the only again they don't have a military, but Hamas has weapons. That's it. They don't have anyone that can help them. They don't have police. Like if they
They're,
had
they're not
autonomy, they
even really
could build a
trained.
military to take
Amazing.
over.
So that's even better. They're not even really trained. Is that like the Green Berets
No, I'm
or
not talking
Army
about
Rangers or Navy SEALs?
right, but you think the people are more trained? Like they have no training. And again, it's not like they have a police or a military that they can use to combat Hamas in there. Like Hamas got to power because they literally have no way to police themselves.
Okay. They don't have no way to police themselves. This person said, so who are really the occupiers, Israel or Hamas? Because it seems the ones starting and using innocent people as human shields are the terroristic Hamas. Yet they run Gaza. That's what I'm saying. And then the people, they outnumber Hamas, but instead of fighting Hamas and taking them over to really show everybody else that, hey man, we're not on their side, they just decide just to live there and just accept whatever it is. And then when Hamas does something, they say, oh, it ain't us, that's Hamas.
I think they just literally I really think these people again, you got to remember they're not getting the news we're getting. They're hearing what Hamas tells them has happened. Every bomb that drops, Hamas will tell them that's Israel, even when it's Hamas.
No, because when they show the video of the bombs hitting and stuff, all
Right.
the people got their phones out. They got phones. They can read and
Right, but that
everything.
doesn't mean that Hamas isn't going to come on and like, oh yeah, this was Israel shooting a
They
rocket.
ain't got to do that. They got phones. They can see anything else that's going on. They got phones taking they video and everything. They
Right,
live. They got
which is
Facebook Live and
most
whatever.
likely why most of them are against Hamas.
This is so funny, man, because you're trying to make it seem like they're just like helpless people. They got phones and everything. They got phones like me and you.
Yeah, but they're still not able to leave. They're not able to.
But they're able to fight though.
But you're missing the point that these people have been taught their whole life Israel is oppressing them. Israel's the bad guy.
That has nothing to do with Palestine. You said that you said Hamas is the ones that's oppressing them there on that land. But so what does Israel got to do with that? Nothing.
Israel is not letting them have their own autonomy.
Why are you looking across the city? That makes no sense.
Because Israel's the one that controls their water, their electricity.
But they have nothing to do
coming and going. They're medical.
Hamas was the issue, right?
Hamas is an issue for sure.
So hold on a second. So are they the main issue or no?
I don't think Hamas would have been formed had they had a free Palestine at the time.
I didn't ask that. I said, is Hamas currently the
Hamas is a symptom. No? Hamas is a symptom of the issue.
So they're not the main issue.
They're a problem. They need to be dealt with, but the main issue is the occupation. That's what's leading to Hamas.
So there again, you're going back to Israel is the main issue here.
Mainly Netanyahu. The Netanyahu administration of
this is what you people do.
Ethnic cleansing.
This is what y'all do.
Is the problem.
We've been talking for the last 35 minutes or how long about how Hamas is really the people that control it, and there's 25,000 of them. They got these big bad guns, and they
Hamas.
And I mean, you know,
Hamas does not really control it.
You said they run it. You said that they run it.
They run Hamas. They don't run Palestine.
If they become a nation, when Hamas run it, you said no, that wouldn't happen, but it happens right now. So
they're not running it.
That's and saying. But Israel's the main.
I see where you got confused.
Hamas is just a symptom of the problem. What?
I see where you're confused. Hamas does not run Gaza. Hamas is a terrorist group in Gaza.
Dude,
Hamas is running Hamas. Hamas runs.
20 minutes ago, you said Hamas runs that Gaza Strip. You said that.
I said Hamas is the ones that have the weapons. They're the terrorist group. And because they don't have any military.
We got video evidence. Video and audio.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying.
That means that I did and everybody else did because everybody heard the same thing.
I'm not seeing anyone say anything.
I mean, you watch. I mean, this is a tape thing, so it'll be on replay. So just go back to like 1 hour and like 45 minutes or something like that. Start there or whatever. You said Hamas runs that area. And then I said, well, wouldn't they run the nation of Palestine if it was a nation? You said, no, it wouldn't run it then. I'm like, what's the difference?
I said Hamas runs Hamas, as in Hamas is the ones in charge of the attacks. They run the attacks. That has nothing to do with Palestine.
Okay, so they made no decisions right there in the area. Then they made no decisions over there.
Gaza, most of the people in Gaza had nothing to do with that. No, that was Hamas.
No, I'm saying Hamas makes no decisions for the everyday lives of these people.
No, they don't have anything to do with that. They just fight Israel. That's their whole thing, is to attack Israel. The people that are in charge of everyday life for Gaza are Israel. They control their water supply. They control their electricity. They control their curfew.
Okay. So are you saying that the Palestinians are agreeing with Hamas because of all these Israel oppression? Is that what you're saying?
I think there are some that are. I don't think the majority of them are. I think the majority of them want all the war to stop and they want peace.
See, now it gets into a bad place now, because then it's like, why are we talking about Palestine being the good guys and being free?
We're not talking about anybody being the good guys. You can't take a side on this.
Though, because I think you're onto something. I think that the Palestinians do agree with Hamas, which is why they agree with staying there and being under the thumb of Hamas, because they agree with them. Because if it's 1 million of y'all and 25,000 of them, you can easily overtake them.
They see Hamas as a necessary evil.
They hate Israel so much that they're willing to.
They hate being impressed by Israel. They have no real problem with Israel existing. They do not want Israel taking more of their land.
I can't tell.
At the same time, I think it's weird to pick a side on any of this because there's innocent people on both sides.
This sounds a lot like,
and neither party is innocent.
A radical Islam attack in America, right? The Islam people say, "Oh, we don't agree with that," right? But I mean, well, they tell us we didn't have nothing to do with that. But then we were like, well, why don't y'all ever speak up and say it's wrong? They never do.
They do every time. They
always tell us we had nothing to do with it. We're the good guys.
Why? So by that logic, every time a white guy murders someone, I should speak up and say this is wrong. Or every time an agnostic person,
white guys living in your household and you live with them, you pay their bills or whatever.
But they're not in their household. They're in their city. There are plenty of white guys in Las Vegas that kill people. I'm not gonna come out and apologize for them.
But white people are not the Islamic faith is different. It's like if a guy goes somewhere and shoots up somewhere and says, "This is in the name of Christ." So you expect me to not say something about that? I'm gonna say that dude ain't one of us. I'm gonna say that publicly.
I don't expect you to say anything because no one at all assumes that he's one of you. That guy's crazy.
A person says that they do it in the name of a certain faith.
They're crazy.
I'm going to say publicly that person ain't us. We ain't the same.
But I'm telling you, everyone knows you're not the same. If you're someone that's radicalized, you're killing people.
No, they don't.
Nobody's expecting
they do something in the name of something. People in their mind will say, "Oh, so now they connect. Oh, well, they believe in that, so they do this."
I mean, I think if you actually read the Quran, you'd realize that it's very similar to the Bible in a lot of ways.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now, though.
Right. I'm lost on what you're talking about, to be honest.
So right now we're talking about when people do something bad and they say, "I'm doing it in the name of this." People connect that bad thing with that thing that they believe in, that they say they're doing it in the name of. Do you not agree?
Yeah, but I don't think anyone is looking at some crazy person that said I did this because of Jesus and thinking, "Oh, that's what Christians do." I don't think they're saying that. They're thinking that guy's crazy. He's using Christ to get out of what he did. But I don't think anyone associates that with all of Christians because one guy does it.
Well, so how come the media, when every time that a man, a white male usually that is a Christian, blows up a hospital or something, or abortion clinic, like what's that dude's name? Timothy McVeigh or one of them guys.
Well, he was an extremist. He was not.
I'm saying he did it in the name of God. So why was it that when the media covered the story, why did they say, "Oh, he did it"? They made sure we all knew that he did it in the name of God and Christ.
Because they wanted us to know that he was crazy, because no real Christian would do that.
But so why would they make it a point to say he was a Christian?
Because that is what he was fundamentally motivated by.
He hated people, whatever. He wanted to kill people.
Right. But he really believed that he was doing the work of Jesus. That's why he, in his mind, believed he was doing the work of Jesus. That was relevant.
But if it's crazy, why are you telling America that?
No one in America is thinking that that's what Jesus people do. That's where I don't agree that people are thinking automatically, "Oh, that must be what all Christians are like."
Hey, Nick, try to tell black people that about the KKK.
Tell them what?
Tell them that the KKK ain't Christians. Try to tell a black person that.
Oh, the KKK are Christians. Absolutely. They're misreading the Christianity.
See what I'm talking about? See, you just proved my point.
They're a Christian organization for sure, but they're a radical Christian, radicalized organization.
You just proved my point.
How?
I just got done saying when somebody does something bad in the name of whatever they do it in, people associate and connect the bad thing that they did with what they said they did it in the name of. And I just brought the KKK. I said,
well, you were saying, do they consider themselves to be a Christian organization?
Listen. I'm not done. Then we brought the KKK. I was telling you, try to tell a black person that the KKK aren't Christians, right? And then what did you say? You said, well, they are Christians.
Right. You said try to tell a black man that they're not
The
Christians.
KKK says that they do what they do in the name
Right.
of God and Christ.
But are they doing what they do in the name of God and Christ?
That's
No.
what they say, and you just said they're Christians.
I said that they believe they're Christians. They believe they're a Christian
You said they're
organization.
Christians.
I said they are misusing
You prove my point.
Christianity. I said they are misusing the words of Christianity for themselves.
Here's what I
The
would
same
say.
way Bin Laden did
That's
with
clean it up.
Islam.
Here's what I would say. What I would say is they're not Christians, period.
No, I would agree. I would agree that they are not following the fundamentals of Christ. They would call themselves Christians. That's what I meant.
They're not Christians, period.
I would just say they would call themselves. Right. I agree with you, but they call themselves.
So what I'm saying is, as a Christian, I would say publicly, as I'm doing right now, the KKK sucks. They're not Christians. Right. They don't believe in God. They're hateful. That's what they are. I would say that publicly. I'm not going to hide and say, oh, well, it ain't my place to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? This and that. That's what the Islam people do. They just hide and they hide behind, that ain't
because Islam preaches peace above everything else.
They're wrong for doing that. They don't do that. Why is that?
Because nobody goes up to Christians or Jews when stuff happens like that and says, what are your stance?
I mean, you gotta prove my point.
It just doesn't happen.
It is what it is. You gotta prove my point. I mean, you made my point clear.
I made the point that they think they're a Christian organization, but they're not. I'm not sure how that proves your point. We are getting low on time, so we do need to talk about the speaker.
Everybody watching this don't understand. You just don't get it. And then I brought that up because of this right here. So I'm saying the people of Palestine, they're in this situation where Israel is whatever, the big time bully or whatever, right?
Right.
But in reality, the people that live right there, Hamas, that are the radicals, they're the KKK, they're the what's a bad group in America, right?
Right. You could say they're the KKK Party, right? Or whatever you want.
Like and instead of looking at the bad people and saying we got to eradicate them and get them out of here, they say no, we agree with them.
Right, but you're missing the point that the solution Israel's come up with, say the KKK, the same solution here, is instead of eradicating the KKK, we're just going to level all of America, get rid of all of them, and then problem solved. That is not a solution that's going to work. Genociding the Palestinians is not going to make Israel safer.
If there's 2 million of them, how they get genocide is 2 million of them? What?
No, I'm saying, okay, start over. If you want to stop the violence and you want to stop the pain, the tactic of genociding the entire Gaza Strip because of 25,000 people is not going to bring that solution.
Who's genociding what? Who's genociding who?
Israel is absolutely involved in a genocide of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip.
How many?
I don't know the numbers at this point, but it's been going on for quite a long time.
So what constitutes a genocide?
So there's two things going. In the West Bank, we have ethnic cleansing, which is basically we want this to be a Jewish country. We're taking your land and you can stay or you can leave, but we are kind of pushing you out.
Okay.
And then in Gaza, the genocide is not letting them have enough water, not letting them have medicine, not letting them have electricity, things that can keep people alive that might have medical conditions, keeping them down. And then every time Hamas decides to be an asshole and go after them and be a horrible person, they then come back tenfold and bomb places that majority of them turn out to be civilians, which just breeds more hatred back towards them, more damage, more pain. And that's not going to solve anything. You have to stop the pain. You have to stop the damage and try to heal that if you want to actually move forward in that region.
So they're supposed to. So you telling me that Israel is supposed to build up the enemy so the enemy can attack?
They're not supposed to build them up. They're just supposed to let them do their own thing. And if they attack, then they have every right to go after. And
but if you're a person that you have your area, right? You run your
Mhm.
house or whatever, right? Are you gonna give the robber a weapon and then say, okay, now I gave you a weapon, use it for good. Don't come rob me with it.
They
What?
didn't give him a weapon. Here's the thing, though. It's a very good example you just gave because it's your house, but someone else is controlling if you can have water there, how much electricity you get, when and where you can leave, if you can leave to go get medical. Like that's what's happening. They just want their house back to live their own life. And I feel like if you give them their house back, they're not going to be so vengeful and want to come back and do things like Hamas did. Hamas is basically built up of 25 and younger, very frustrated, very angry, very war torn people that don't see another way out. If you give them another way out, you give them something they can see a light at the end of the tunnel, they're going to go for peace over violence. But
Really?
if you back someone into a corner,
You
all they
saying
know
that?
is violence.
So you telling me that the way that you get peace with a person that wants to kill you is to do what again?
Most of them don't want to kill you, though. Hamas wants to kill them. Most of Gaza Strip does not want to kill them.
I thought you were talking Hamas this whole time.
No, I was talking about Gaza.
You say
Yeah.
Hamas.
Hamas
Yeah.
absolutely needs to be completely eliminated, 100%.
Okay, so all I'm saying is the 1 million plus people that's there that they're not being genocided, right? Because there's a million of them, right?
Right, but there's also
So
one of the world-class militaries right next to them that could also strategically take out Hamas without indiscriminately bombing buildings.
how do we know what would happen if it don't happen?
I mean, we know what our capabilities are as Americans,
No,
and that's where they
but I'm
get their.
saying, when has the Palestinians even tried to overtake Hamas?
I don't think they have the power to do that. I don't think they are
They ain't
allowed to
even tried
have.
it, right? So
Try it how?
so hold on
Like,
a second.
these
So
are
we don't
not.
even know what the
They
response
don't
of
have a
anybody else
address. They
around the
don't
world
have
would
a
be if
building
that
they're
actually
in.
happened.
It's not like they're
Amazing.
in a building or in a headquarters. They're all spread
That's
out throughout
amazing. That's
Gaza.
so amazing to me. Like, we're talking about something. We're talking about something, but we're not even looking at the people that live there and saying, "Yo, what are y'all gonna do?"
We can't eliminate Nazis in this country because they're underground. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
bro, Nazis have no say so in anything. That's why they're nothing. What are you talking about?
We have a lot of is it 75 or 95% of the mass shootings are from neo-Nazi ideologies in this
That's a
country.
lie.
The
What are you talking about?
politically motivated mass shootings in this country,
What are you talking
75%
about?
come from
How
neo-Nazis.
many mass shootings had it been out there in any given year?
We're talking about politically motivated, not just I shot
Oh,
you.
it's about like the 1%. Okay, I got you. I got you.
The
One
ones that
percent.
make the news, that scare
The
people,
one the
that
1%. Yeah.
the
Oh,
ones that
the Nashville shooter. Somebody, she was a Nazi. I didn't know that.
the Nashville
Didn't know it.
shooter. God, there's been so many shootings.
I know it was a
The guy
girl
that shot
that
up
girl was
Pulse
in
nightclub, the
Nashville
guy that
that
shot
killed
up
all the Christian kids and
Colorado,
stuff.
the
I
guy
thought
in
she was a Nazi. I didn't
Texas,
know
the
that.
guy in New Jersey, or not New Jersey, in Buffalo. That guy was a neo-Nazi.
Based on
Dylan
what?
Roof,
Based on what?
based on his manifesto talking about how he wanted to eradicate all non-white people.
Oh, so he said he a neo-Nazi. He said that.
He said it, yeah. And most of these mass shootings, they will say that. That's our
Okay,
problem. If we can't
so that's
eliminate
one.
that small of a group
So you said 75% of them are
of
neo-Nazis.
politically motivated, which means they have a political ideology,
How many political mass shootings were there in 2022?
that I don't know.
2020.
Again, I don't know the numbers on it. I know that the percentage of those types of shootings,
Based on what? Based on what data? Where are you getting it from?
based on, I think it's the Southern Poverty Law Center or something like that. One of those accredited.
You can't make this stuff up, people. I swear.
What? You're going to
The
go
Southern
after
Poverty
the
Law
people that.
Center.
Now you're going to go after the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Man, that's a leftist group. They're right here in my town, bro. I
A
know.
leftist
They're
group that
right
is
here. They're right
fighting the
there. I can drive
KKK.
there in 5 minutes.
I mean, they're leftists in the fact they're fighting the KKK. I'll give you that.
KKK are leftists. What are you talking about?
Are you kidding? They're conservatives. They wanted to conserve slavery. They wanted to conserve the status quo. I didn't say they're Republicans. I said they're conservatives.
Hold on a second. So you tell me if a person wants to conserve murder, they're conservative too?
Yeah. If you want to conserve the status quo, you're a conservative. If you want to change
I thought
things,
you said you were a libertarian.
I'm a socialist libertarian, but I am a leftist.
You want
I
to
do
conserve
think.
what?
What's that?
What do you want to conserve?
I don't want to conserve anything. Libertarian is about keeping your rights. That has nothing to do with being conservative. Rights, right? What's that?
You want to conserve rights.
I want to conserve and expand rights. I think more people should have the same rights we do.
But you want to conserve it though, right?
I mean, I don't want to get rid of rights. I don't want to get rid of democracy.
Yeah, you see how you're trying to change the words? Like you just
answered
the other questions like real quick. But now you're like, well, I mean, I want to conserve and expand and multiply and divide and all, like what?
Because I want to make things better. I want a better society.
I understand that sounds real good, kumbaya. But I'm saying, as a libertarian, you have beliefs, right?
As a libertarian, I believe the government should not tell people what to do, that we should be able to make our own decisions.
The fact that government shouldn't tell you what to do, right?
I don't think that's a thing they're doing now. I think they are telling us what to do. What's that?
So that makes you a conservative?
No, because I don't think the government... I think the government's telling us what to do now.
That wants to conserve murdering is a conservative.
No, that's...
That was...
They're conservative only in murder in that case.
Which is the left. They're conservative too.
How are they the left? They literally wanted to preserve slavery and the types of... I don't get how you think that's a left-wing ideology whatsoever. Left-wing's about human rights. It was progressives that passed the Civil Rights Act. It was progressives that freed the slaves. Lincoln might be the most progressive president we've ever had because of that. Like, you can say it was the Democrats that started the KKK, and you're right. But those blue dog Democrats aren't really around anymore.
The Democrats are the left.
They are now, after the 60s, after the Civil Rights Act, they are. When the Republicans didn't want to be inclusive anymore.
But the thing is, my God, man.
We still haven't talked about the speaker race, and I think that's super important.
Man, they ain't that important. People don't even know that the KKK is the left.
Because they're not. By any measure, they are literally aligned with Republicans these days.
What is the left?
The left is people that think everyone deserves rights, the same rights. Everyone deserves a right to vote. I believe we should also have education, housing, healthcare provided or at least subsidized for what we want. I also think our economic system should be owned by the workers and not having all the profits go to some shareholders that never set foot in the company to begin with.
I'm saying that's the left. What's the left?
That's the left. That's the ideology of the left. We want to give you healthcare, education, and make it so you make more money, have more time off with your family. Those are the goals of the left in this country.
Where are you getting information from?
Bernie Sanders, AOC, even Biden has proposed some of these things. Biden's pretty conservative, though. He is definitely center right. He is much more like, this is what I'm talking about with the speakership race. You have two parties now. You have the Republicans, who are the moderates for the most part, center right. And you have now the MAGA movement that is very far right, very radical, doesn't want to compromise. That's Jim Jordan and them. And you had Scalise, who's like a normal Republican. Scalise and Biden are much closer to each other than Trump and Biden, than even Bernie and Biden. They both want to kind of maintain the status quo that isn't working of Reaganomics and keep capital and protect capital at all costs, regardless of what would make our lives better.
So the left is all about money?
No, the left wants to get rid of that. The center's all about money and keeping the wealthy wealthy and us not wealthy.
So
That's
the right
kind
is
of
not
their
about
point.
money.
What's that?
The right is not about money.
The right is about being fiscally responsible, though they haven't been for the last couple elections. We added 7 trillion just under Trump's tax cuts. That's not very fiscally responsible. We spend more under Republicans ever since Bush Sr., which is not
So,
very
so
fiscally.
the left want people to have more money and all that type of stuff. So is the left a bigger government or a smaller government?
So my personal view is the bigger government would only be there for aid. Bigger government
No, I'm asking you: is the left about big government or small government?
The left is about more social programs, more spending for social
Is that
programs to
bigger
help
government or smaller
people.
government? I mean, I'm asking
It
specific
it
government.
it depends because the right also wants a bigger government in terms of what they can tell you what to do and how to think.
But I ain't talking about the right. I'm talking about the left. Is the left bigger government or smaller government?
At this moment, they're really, again, it's hard to say because they do want to make certain things like the military smaller.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say because they do want a smaller military. They are a little more fiscally responsible these days. They do want to do more social programs, but they want to cut military spending and wasteful spending to do that. They're not really
they want
trying to
more social
expand.
programs, which is government. Is that government?
They also are for regulation, which I'm all for. I think a lot of our companies should be broken up.
So is regulation and social programs, are that's government or no?
That is government, yeah, of course.
Okay.
But those are good things. That's, you remember, the government is us.
I'm not asking if it's good or bad. I'm just asking, is the left about having bigger government or smaller government?
The left is about expanding the government so that we, the people who are the government, have more of a voice in our society. We elect these people to the government to represent us, and we want them to regulate companies like Amazon, break those up so that they're not monopolies, so that everybody can compete.
And the right is about smaller government.
Right is about smaller government, letting companies do what they want, getting rid of unions, letting them pay what they want. Basically, letting the rich decide what they want to do and how they want to run things.
The Democratic Party is on the left or the right?
Democratic Party is in the center, technically, if you're looking at worldwide.
So who's on the left?
We don't really have a left party. That would be Bernie Sanders, but he got kicked out of the Democrats before he ever had a chance to run. You have AOC is on the left. People that want to do...
Is she a Democrat or what is she?
Yeah, they run as Democrats. That's how they get elected, but they're socialists.
Is socialist, is that left or right? What is that?
Socialism's far left. Which is why Biden is not a socialist, because he's not proposing.
Is, right? She's
AOC,
leftist, right?
She's definitely on the left. I don't know if she's as left as I would consider what the left movement in the country is.
Didn't you just say she's a socialist?
She prefers socialism. She might not be a socialist, to be honest.
You just said she, and then you said that's the far left.
Right.
So then I said, so she's on the left. And then you said, well, I don't know.
Well, she's not as far left as some people, for sure.
I ain't asking, I'm just saying, is she on
but she's definitely, yeah, she is on the left comparatively.
Okay.
Compared to Biden, she's far left.
Most Democrats are on the left.
Most Democrats in America, if you're looking at what American politics are, would be considered center left. But if you're looking worldwide on what people consider left and right, Democrats are also conservatives.
When it comes to like BLM, who funnel their money to the Democratic Party, which is...
Well, they donated to the Democrats. The Democrats tend to be on the side of minorities.
That's the left. The BLM was an arm of the Democratic Party.
No, they were not connected in any way.
They were. This is a verified fact.
Go ahead and show that on screen.
Money to the Democratic Party.
They donated to the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party
to the right, to the Republicans.
No, because the Republicans did not have their interests.
That's right, because they're on the right and the Democrats are on the left. Yeah.
Because the Democrats were the ones willing to actually look into police reform to stop having black people get shot before questions are asked.
Yeah.
I mean, if you consider black people not being shot for being black leftist, then sure, I'm a
Black people don't
leftist.
get shot because they're black.
We saw at least 30 people get shot for
We can go
being
to that in a
black.
minute. We can talk about that in a minute. But I want to say on this like right this right here. Like the left thing. So we've understood that the left is the Democratic Party,
I
the right
mean,
is the Republican Party.
if you have to pick one or the other,
Yeah.
the reason I don't consider
We
myself
got
a
two main
Democrat,
parties in America, right?
right?
The
And I
Libertarians
think
ain't
they're
doing
both
nothing in America.
conservative. I think they're
Correct.
both conservative, and someone like you might think they're both liberal.
But I'm saying in America, you got two main parties. The
Right. That's our
Libertarians ain't
main
doing
problem.
nothing. The Green Party ain't doing nothing.
No.
Okay? Yeah.
We need more parties. That is a big problem we have. We need at least 4, I think. We need a leftist party, a Democratic Party, a Republican Party, and a far right party.
So because everybody is gonna drop into one category or the other. Like you can name, there can be 10 parties. Them other 8 parties ain't gonna matter. It's gonna be 2 parties: Republican, Democrat.
I mean, I guess they're very
America's
similar.
already tried that already. We already had other parties that don't work.
I mean, it did work very well for a long
No,
time,
it don't work.
but then
But
they
anyway,
consolidated
so
power.
it ends up being the Democrat. So what I'm saying is the BLM was an arm of the Democrats, just as
A
the
better way to
KKK,
say that is they're an arm of the
was an arm of the
progressives.
Democratic Party. Did you know that?
What's that?
The KKK was an arm of the Democratic Party. Did you know
Right. Back in the day when the Democratic Party was the conservative South, they were an arm of that. Correct.
that? They weren't. They'd never been the conservative side.
You look in the history of where the
They
country
never were on the
voted,
conservative side.
the South used to be solid blue.
Yeah, Democrat, left. That's not conservatism.
That is absolutely conservatism to want to conserve the idea of slavery and conserve the idea of white supremacy, which is what they were doing.
Once again, see, words
The
only
Democratic
mean
Party was the conservative party back then.
words only mean what you want them to mean.
I think, like, again, they were Democrats, but the Democrats has not always been the party of progressives.
That words only mean what you want them to mean.
That's not what is happening right now. What's happening is you're misunderstanding my
You told me 3
definition.
or 4 different definitions of conservatism in the last 20 minutes.
You want to conserve the status quo.
You said that slave owners were conservatives.
Yes.
You said that the KKK was conservatives. You said
absolutely
that a murderer that wants to conserve murdering is a conservative.
Well, and they're conservative in murder.
You said I want to conserve rights of people. I think people deserve the rights to do what they want to do.
I want to expand them.
So you're conservative for rights. No, I'm not conservative.
I said I wanted to expand rights of people. The only thing I would want to conserve is the rights we already have, but I want to expand them.
So that makes you a conservative then.
That makes you progressive because you want to change things, expand things.
I'm saying, but everything else that I named, you said it was conservative. But then when it came to you, all of a sudden you're not conservative.
Because I'm not conservative. I would not have been a Democrat back in the day. The KKK were Democrats. I would not have been a Democrat under Lincoln. I might not have been a Democrat under
Republican?
Yeah, they were the progressive party at that time. They were the party that was actually expanding rights for people. And then when the Democrats signed the Civil Rights Act, they took the mantle. Both parties kind of swapped. And there we are.
Man. There was only like 2 guys.
Then why is it only Republicans that are mad when they're taking down Confederate statues?
Why do y'all always say that? It was only like 2 guys that changed parties. What are y'all talking about?
We're talking about the voters that changed parties. The Democrats, after passing the Civil Rights Act, got every person of color in the country to start voting for them because they did something for them, which means the leadership could no longer be conservative. They needed to understand.
Were Republicans before they ever got freed. What are you talking about?
Right, because Republicans were progressives back then. After they were freed, it was the Democrats that then voted to allow the Civil Rights Act.
My God, man.
Like, this isn't hidden history at all.
I
This
know
is.
it's just crazy to me but I mean, you've been changing the definition of conservatism and what
I
a
don't
baby
think I
is and all
have.
that
I
stuff. I
think
mean,
they all
I
like.
ain't that surprised. Let's see. Oh, okay, that's my that. A lot of people were talking about that Hamas thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of
But
that.
I mean, nobody agree with you though, from what I can see. Um, hmm. Yeah.
Yep, they're about to have peace. Historic peace treaty.
Man. Oh, then somebody said this about SPLC. But the FBI runs the hate groups to keep the boogeyman alive. MS-13, BLM, and Antifa are far more dangerous. I know, man.
I don't believe that. I don't think being against fascism is dangerous. I don't think BLM was dangerous. I mean, we know 95% of those protests were completely peaceful.
Oh yeah, so
and I know the FBI is not running them. That is literally tinfoil hat there. Like,
yeah, but the FBI did run the quote unquote attempt to kidnap the governor of Michigan,
no,
Gretchen Whitmer.
those people went to prison. The 4 people that were charged were convicted.
There were
and went
like
to prison.
3 guys that were found not guilty. Why was that?
3 guys found not guilty. I don't know. There was a lot more than 3 of them.
Why was that?
Not because they're FBI. That's for damn sure.
No, because the FBI was like 12 agents in the sting. Like what,
bro? I mean, this whole thing, like, oh, it's the FBI agents that stormed the Capitol. It's FBI agents. Like, you can blame the FBI for everything, but we have Trump's receipts promoting that rally, saying that fight like hell if you want to keep your country.
See how I'm talking about the Gretchen Whitmer thing in Michigan, and now you're talking about something that happened in DC.
Gretchen Whitmer was attempted to be kidnapped by some conservative activists. Radical conservative activists. They were then charged.
Except an FBI agent was the head guy.
A former FBI agent, maybe? Was he former? Was he active?
You don't know anything about that case, do you?
Doesn't really matter. He was a far right.
It doesn't matter. So now it doesn't matter?
When you're acting outside of the FBI's authority, you're not representing the FBI.
It doesn't matter?
I also kind of don't believe that, because like a lot of the things you brought up.
So you don't believe what the FBI itself admitted? You don't believe that?
I would like to see the source. But I mean, it's the same like the clip you put up the other day saying that I admitted to 2 genders, and then you watch that video and nowhere in that entire video did I say that.
Yeah, because you admitted there's male and female.
I admitted that there is a spectrum, that one side is male and one side is female.
You admitted that gender is based on sex when there's only 2 sexes. There's male and female.
Gender was socially constructed off of sex, but it's a social construct.
I mean, you said it, man. I didn't say it.
I mean, I left the clip because I never said that. I mean, I didn't say it, so you can. I mean, that's why I left the clip up.
I mean, it ain't going nowhere. Let's see here.
Anyway, I don't think we're going to have a Speaker of the House before the next election. Which means I don't see us getting any aid to Israel before the next election. And that's a shame.
To America? Let's see here. What does it say right here?
What is that source?
This is Yahoo News.
All right.
Matter of fact, it's Washington Examiner. And this Yahoo News is putting it out. Let's see here. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. So the claim was that it was a group of
He was an informant.
group,
Okay.
right?
They were FBI informants.
And agents.
Yeah, the agents infiltrated the organization that was planning to
multiple agents within the same group is the thing.
Multiple agents that infiltrated the organization.
Normally, when you have this type of thing, there's one guy or one girl that goes in and infiltrates and gets the information. You don't have 3, 4, 5, 6 of them.
I mean, the FBI will let you say whatever you want to say. Again, that's not what that's saying as much as you think it is.
What's saying?
It's saying that FBI agents did infiltrate them, but they were letting them do what they were doing.
No, they persuaded them, they entrapped them into doing things because they were the leaders of the group.
Well, then they were conservative FBI agents.
There were guys within this group that said they didn't want to participate in what they had going on, but they persuaded the rest of the group to keep them in the group. The agents did this. That's why 2 or 3 of these guys already got found not guilty. They're free.
Again,
people can go back and read this right here. Just look it up. It's right here.
I looked it up. They definitely said FBI agents infiltrated. It did not say what their affiliation was, if they were acting on behalf of the FBI. And most of them were informants. So an informant is not an agent. It is a person who works with the FBI for information.
But an agent was the leader.
Because they had an informant that told them what they were plotting.
So
you can't arrest someone for a potential crime
of the group and tell the group, "Hey, do this right here," but you're the leader. You're telling them what. I mean, how's that not entrapment? You're not supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be getting information about the group, not leading them.
Because entrapment is when you force somebody to commit a crime.
Like
nobody held a gun on the guy and said, "Go kidnap the governor."
It's already been proven, though,
that he had a gun held on him to go kidnap the governor.
Listen, the court acquitted
right
2 or 3 guys,
but not all of them.
Listen, based on the fact that the FBI had agents leading the operation, and they entrapped the members into the group to doing things.
I didn't see anything about entrapment. I didn't see anything about anyone being held a gun on. "13 people were arrested, 3 or 4 of them being acquitted. 2 pleaded guilty. 5 men were acquitted. 2 other men later found guilty of kidnapping."
Wow, 5 acquitted. Why would they be acquitted?
Because they didn't have enough evidence.
Dude,
because they pleaded. They turned state's evidence. They became informants and gave them what they needed.
No, but multiple
2 men pleaded guilty and offered to testify on behalf of the prosecution.
The guys
that 5 men were acquitted.
They went to trial. They didn't become informants.
It's because they played a plea deal where they told them about the other guys and they got off.
They got acquitted. They went to trial and got acquitted. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, they threw the trial out.
Hold on a second. No. What does acquit mean?
That means they throw the trial out. They throw the case out.
Based on what?
Based on lack of evidence, usually. They can't prove guilt, so they
they
get
had
acquitted.
like evidence on certain people, but yet, so why didn't all of them get found guilty though?
Because not all of them were responsible for the plotting.
But they're all in the group. They said that they all were responsible for the plotting. This is an open and shut case. It should have been an open and shut case. Anytime you have the feds come for you, they got like a 96% win percentage. So
Oh yeah,
it's odd to have multiple agents in the same operation and 2 or 3 guys or 4 or 5 guys get acquitted. That makes no sense.
again, they found 2 pleaded guilty, 2 related found guilty. There are still some waiting. 3 other men later
Harris
convicted
and
of felony
Capretta were
counts.
found not guilty of kidnapping conspiracy. The jury also found Harris not guilty on other charges.
Right, 5
The
of them were
jury
not
did
guilty.
not reach a verdict for Fox and Croft, after which U.S. District Judge Robert Junker declared a mistrial for those defendants.
Right, they were acquitted because they couldn't agree on if they were guilty or not.
Yeah, but the other guys were found not guilty. Straight up, they went to
No,
trial and got found not guilty.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8 people were found guilty.
And mind you, over half the individuals in the whole group are all feds.
I mean, if you look at that one article, but if you look at even
Oh, man, this is
Wikipedia,
funny,
they're
man.
not saying that.
This is funny. But anyway, if people want to look it up, man, look that up. The Michigan governor was allegedly going to be kidnapped or whatever, right? And the feds were all in the thing. They were in the plot. I mean, they were part of the plot. So of course,
Right.
you know, of course,
I do have to get going.
made it a big thing. They were saying, "Oh my God, this is so terrible. This is right wing extremism." Right? That's what they always say. Right wing
And then
extremists.
8 of them were
found
found
out,
to be right wing
half of the
extremists.
guys in the group are feds.
The 8 of them weren't. 8 of them were convicted.
And out of them 8, 4 guys were acquitted. That's crazy.
No, out of 15, 4 were acquitted, or 12, 4 were acquitted. Anyway, I got to go. Next time, if you want to do the topics beforehand, so we actually have a chance to have information, that would be great. But I do need to get to work.
All right. I don't know what information you're talking about.
Like next time, if you want to do this again, let's pick topics ahead of time so we can actually have some information in front of us to have a better conversation.
Oh, we had a good conversation. You just want to make no sense.
Right.
You want to make no sense, man. You can't contradict yourself.
I mean, I'll let the audience decide who was making the more sense. But like I said, I gotta go.
We'll leave it up to the audience. Y'all let us know who's making the most sense in this situation, in this conversation. But anyway, man, it is late, man. I appreciate you being on here.
Yep, and I'll do it again too. Next time I would like to have the topics ahead of time.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, man. You have a good night. All right, I appreciate
you too. Peace, guys.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nick Denman. I appreciate him hopping on here, joining the Captain's Quarters show. This was episode 20. Man, then we had a great conversation. I'm going through some of these comments. Yeah, I appreciate you. I got asked to be here. There was some good conversation topics. I appreciate that. We tried to, I tried to cover. I wanted to get more in depth on a lot of these topics. So we talked about these before, like 3 weeks ago. But I wanted to go more in depth and have more of a dialogue specifically about certain topics and not get, not get off the trail too much. What's up, Jay? Jay said, wow. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I think, y'all let me know who y'all think made the most sense in this conversation. I mean, we talked about a lot. We talked about babies being, at what point is a baby a baby? Is it a human? And I think that y'all heard what I said, but I think he was all over the place on that. I don't think he really nailed down too much. He kind of left things in the air and that type of thing. And then we got to talking about, of course, Palestine, Israel, and that's one of them, that's a topic where a lot of people don't really understand what's going on and why it's going on. So when they talk about it, they may not really quite understand. Like a lot of people watching may not understand, exactly why they're having a conflict to begin with, right? It's a religious thing, and it's over land and that type of thing. And so, anyway, I was trying to make the point that hey, if you got 1,000,000 people over here and 25,000 over here, I don't care what 25,000. I don't care what the 25,000 have, right? As far as their weaponry, the 1,000,000 is going to beat them. Like, I mean, it makes no sense to me that we even have that discussion about, oh, the 1,000,000 can't do anything because they're defenseless. Like, that makes no sense. Let's see. We covered what else, man? We got into the LGBT a little bit. Talk about that being gay. Was it a choice? That type of thing, and it's definitely a choice. You know what I'm saying? I told him, hey, our color that we have, our skin tone, height, that type of thing. We don't really, determine those things ourselves. We're born with that. Facial hair, like you're born with the DNA to grow that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you don't choose it. Whereas you got homosexuals that choose to live a certain lifestyle. They made their choice, and so he disagreed. He don't think he made the choice apparently. Well, he said he do, but then he went. He contradicted himself on that later on. So, my guy Adrian said this right here. They hit the nail on the head. Which my development stages of human growth and development. The fetus is a part of human development from conception. Life has begun, right? So the life already begins, and then as it develops, you develop physically and you develop mentally, right? And a lot of us develop spiritually as well. So you got development that happens, but you can't develop unless you're living already. You know what I'm saying? You can't be dead and develop. It's not possible. But anyway, y'all let me know. Whew, that was something else, man. That was something else, man. I appreciate you coming on here, but my gosh, some of them things, man. I just thought that I thought he would understand or be like, okay, yeah, I agree with that. But that wasn't the case. It is what it is, man. I'm about to wrap this up. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all that the ones that stood in there still watching now, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for everybody that tuned in for, I don't care if you tuned in for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Thank you for tuning in, watching it live. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. Everybody, hit that subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're watching it via Facebook, hit that like button, share the video with a friend. Do the same thing if you're watching YouTube. Share with a friend. I appreciate you all so much. I was the Captain L. Milliner. This was the Captain's Corner Show, and I am gone.